Good afternoon, I'm Daniel Miller and this is Destiny Academy. A warm welcome to all of our friends, fans, community members, participants and everyone watching the stream worldwide on a variety of different platforms. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining us, and thank you for being our very valuable members, supporting the channel, raising the profile of our charitable fundraising, doing things together with us, communicating, sending us messages. It's quite extraordinary because I've not been streaming for a little while. That was in order to rebuild the channel, get the new internet connection, import the overlays and just beautifulise everything and make it really as professional and as good as possible compared to the old stream. And I'm just astonished that I've had the stream for only a few days. It's like 3 days in a row, and this was really the stream within a proper schedule compared to the betas that we'd had in the last couple of weeks. And there's so many people who are coming in saying hello and indeed being our dedicated community members and asking questions, connecting with others. In fact, I had some questions last night after I finished the stream which indicated that excuse me, that people watch the stream on playback. I did see that there's been quite sizable viewing on Twitch when it came to the recent broadcasts, and people were connecting with others in order to create new fire teams for Destiny. It's interesting because those people were trying to connect with others for Destiny 1 rather than the sequel. And I think what we observed here is that lots of people who have been a bit sort of tired of lengthy grinds in the sequel had decided to migrate back to Destiny 1. And we've had a few people popping in saying hello. I think generally on Twitch not many people are streaming, therefore there aren't that many viewers, but the community of Destiny gamers is very large, it's very dedicated and very vibrant, and it's just a question of time where before many people yet again connect with some of the activities and create new squads. As you've seen earlier in the week, many people who are coming here to my channel are interested in doing the Pinnacle activities, and what I can tell you is that a lot of these, particularly the raids and mini competitions within the Crucible, will be run as part of our fundraising campaign. You know that the channel is tied to various charities. We have Ali saying hello. Hello Ali, thanks very much for joining us. Great to see you. Thanks very much for being our valued community member and indeed being a very dedicated Destiny gamer. Just coming back to what I said, we are going to be tying in the Pinnacle activities with fundraising, the charitable fundraising that presently I'm doing for Mind Charity UK, and the Mind Charity provides services for people who are experiencing some form of mental health difficulty, and could be any sort, from feeling under the weather through major illnesses. And they have professional volunteers who are very dedicated and indeed providing a multitude of different events and services for those who are indeed wanting and needing to use them. They have many different outlets around the country, and they've been around for many years. The focus of what we do here is simply to promote the fundraising campaign and consequently the charity. We want people, particularly in the gaming community, to get together and become more aware of the fact as to why these charities are so important, health and the well-being of people who live near us. And we've known that these charities have been operating for many years, but my feeling is that certainly in recent times we've had so much influencers and reality shows and all sorts of things that pop up on TikTok and Facebook, And I very strongly feel there isn't enough attention given to the important causes, like, for instance, protecting the nature, preventing further global warming. I mean, I'm literally stifled in here with unbelievably hot weather in England, literally at the beginning of June. I honestly don't understand as to why it's so hot. It's been like this like for 5 days, 30 degrees every single day, very hot at night, very difficult to sleep. It doesn't feel like I'm in England. I could have been in Greece. You know, it's just really crazy. And we need to be fully aware of these causes, and we need to be using the power that the global community of gamers actually does have in order to initiate a change. If we are to be using the power for something that will be bringing us something good, then obviously we are all going to be very happy, satisfied, and will prove to the world that the words of one of the Xbox executives the other days are actually 100% correct. What she did say, Sarah Bond, was that video gaming and the comms are the most powerful form of interaction and communication that the history has ever known. And I absolutely agree, because what we do here live online when we play video games with others, particularly on Twitch within our communities, is unbelievably powerful, because we do several things at once. It's like a multitasking. We connect with others around the world who are interested in the same sorts of activities. We divorce from everyday ills, yet we talk, we communicate, we bond, we create new friendships, new fire teams, and we don't just about games, we talk about all other kinds of issues. When one's community is fully on board, becomes very active and busy, then any sort of issue that is present around the people's local environment, or anything that seems to be affecting everyday existence, can be openly discussed and talked about. So it's a fantastic forum, and somebody who's been involved with many different talking therapy forums, and generally with the sort of psychological medicine and mental health overall, I have a lot of experience of how this works in real life. But I've got to say, certainly in the last 5 to 6 years, since I got very involved with online streaming and various other forums that different platforms, I was just astonished by the capacity for unconnect with others, which is natural, which is spontaneous, and it's based on interest. It reflects on what we like doing the best, and you get to know people extremely well through various online conversations, almost as good as you would if you met them in real life. Obviously, the difference is you don't see them straight away, but the way they interact, the way they connect, the way they do things with others is giving you a very good indication of what they're like as people. So we want to use the gaming world as a force of good that is producing something thinking. And I think Ali, who is our new community member, had heard me talk the other day when I described our Destiny and Warzone sessions during the pandemic. I had created an anti-COVID group, or I should say a COVID protection group, where we were offering space and time for anyone and COVID to be present in here, and to be fully engaged with our communications and activities in order to prevent feelings of isolation, alienation, and all else that was affecting many people in our community. And you had absolutely fantastic time. Everyone was so well supported. Every day for 5 or 6 hours, sometimes even for 7 hours, we would be playing these games and then having breaks through which we talk about everything that was affecting us. And I still get messages from people who participate in these forums at the time who are very grateful. People living in remote towns and villages, and particularly people living in our big cities, because if you're living somewhere where it's remote, the environment is not as populated, it's easier to go out, you're not affected in the same way if you're experiencing that lockdown. But in urban settings, places like London, for instance, or Manchester, Glasgow, big cities, everything came to standstill. In my local area, which is in the suburbs, there was literally no living soul in sight. It was literally like apocalyptic, or post-apocalyptic, I should say. It was unbelievable. You couldn't see anybody out, particularly after 6 or 7 o'clock at night. And after a few weeks, we'd had all the animals from the nature reserve venturing out and sleeping on our roads. Can you imagine this? There was one Saturday I went out. It was probably about 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and I walked between 2 towns, the nearby towns, mine and the one which is next door, on the main road, which is on Saturday night usually very busy with cars and people and everything. Not a single vehicle within 2 hours, going back and forth, not a single person to be seen anywhere. So it was like that. It was just, like ghost town-like. And these forums provided the opportunity for that degree of engagement, for people not to feel alone, to talk about the difficulties and move forward. Get some messages from our friends. And Ali's saying, Destiny 1 is so beautiful and it's amazing some of the things that we're still finding. Absolutely, I totally agree. I told you the other day, I played Destiny for probably 2,000 hours or so live online. In fact, I just looked it up yesterday. I have more than 1,000 streams archived on YouTube. I was astonished myself. I couldn't believe I've completed that. I've accomplished the, that sort of achievement. It's just incredible. 1,000 streams. I mean, honestly, and I'm really sort of in awe of myself. Not to be kind of bigging up, but just simply surprised myself by discovering the number because I played it. And I want to say is that I played it for many hours, but also with our community. And I don't think I played Destiny 1 at all outside of my streams. It was always based on the stream and community-based activity. But I discovered that there are still quite a few exotics and quite a few items that I can be getting. I can be grinding, various tasks in order to acquire. So that's wonderful. And as you said, there's so many different interesting places within the Destiny universe, both in Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, which could be always explored. There's nothing better than, for instance, Sekapupu, our friend from community member from Finland. He had explored very many areas which were sort of slightly remote, and then indeed he knew about all the glitches and all the kind of technical issues that were popping up in in some of those remote corners of our beloved planets, and he was describing them to everyone. Everyone was becoming aware of where the spots were, as well as being able to discover secret chests, for instance, or the quests where you were in Destiny 1 looking for dead ghosts. It was a very difficult quest. You needed to know exactly where these ghosts were. So I absolutely agree. There are many places to which you can explore this world and always discover something new. It's not infinite in Destiny 1 compared to the sequel, but it is equally exciting because it does take a lot of time, a lot of effort to get to the ultimate conclusion. And there are many tasks, and as we know, most people like doing the exotic quests, and these are always the best done in a team with other people together. And our friend says, I have a question. Do you think they'll bring kick streaming onto consoles? It was similar in New Zealand. That's awesome. Kick streaming, I'm not familiar with the term. What would that mean? Kick streaming, which would be connected with some sort of physical activity, or I'm not familiar with the term. I mean, I apologize, but it's just I follow the trends, but every day I discover something new. So what's kick streaming? I'm curious. Ali could tell us. Yeah, so coming back to my earlier stream of thought about charities, this is what you're trying to do in here. We're trying to raise the profile of these charities, which are very important to our communities, and we are trying to raise funds for them. Coming back to raids and the Crucible competitions, special Nightfall sessions, we really are tying in the activity to various milestones which are set up for the campaign. So for instance, when we reach £100 of the donations, we'll have a major community event which is delivered outside of our stream with all the participants, people who are donating, people who are participating, people who are raising the profile, doing some PR for us on various platforms, and then the rest of the community members, people who are regular Destiny veterans. We'll do sessions which are kind of task oriented. So for instance, we'll do a raid and we'll have a certain objective in there. And prior to that, as we reach the milestone, we'll run like a quiz show. There'll be a poll for people to decide what we are to be wearing, what we are to be using, in terms of weapons and armor and everything else. It'll be a very interactive type of activity. This is new. I've not had this on my channel previously within that sort of format, and really look forward to this. Obviously, we can still do some of the other activities, but that will be the pinnacle and that will be the target. So if people donate and help our charities reach these targets, the campaign will be run until the end of this year, so 6 months ahead, plenty of time for everyone to contribute. Then we'll have a lot of that, have lots of these activities. And obviously some of these activities will be regular, because every time we reach a milestone, we'll have one of those activities, and we'll play by ear. I've got at the moment 10 different pinnacle activities and 10 different community sessions set up for this, but we could expand it to 20 if people just liked what they've seen. So it's always an opportunity to expand and do other things. Our friend says it's a new streaming platform. I was wondering if the platform would be integrated to consoles. Well, I do apologize, Ali, but I need to look into this because I'm not really familiar with it. I have seen several new platforms introduced recently, one of which was indeed premiered both on Xbox Podcast, and if I'm not mistaken, in one of the after convention shows the other day, during the Summer Game Festival, they were also presenting it, and I can't remember what it's called. It's got its own new name, which obviously escapes me right now. It's very much, it looks a bit like a Steam Deck. So it's a handheld device. In its appearance similar to Switch, and that handheld device runs on Windows. So it's a bit like having your kind of PC abilities within the handheld device, and they will be using it for a great number of Xbox Game Pass based games. And that's the new platform that I've seen, which has been introduced. They will probably integrate streaming together with it. There's been no word on this as yet, but obviously having that capacity, and there are some accessories to come together with it. They were explaining it, but didn't really soak everything up really. But I know that they discontinued with Stadia. They were obviously experimenting with it. It didn't turn out to be very successful as a gaming stroke streaming platform, and purely in terms of the apps, there's a huge competition between YouTube and Twitch. On the other hand, you've seen that lots of people stream on Instagram and on Facebook, and really, quite frankly, if you're looking at the streams provided by Facebook and Instagram, they're more like just chatting here on Twitch, and they're very interactive because obviously people who are influencers, so, the ladies doing yoga and people doing certain games and introducing others to, for instance, cosplay or conventions. They get a lot of participants. It's instant access, and I'm sure that they will invent some sort of additional platform for those to be streamlined, because quite frankly, on Twitch, you don't streamline any of these. On the other hand, they could come up with some partnership in the future, so Twitch platform doesn't work too well on consoles at the moment. It just seems to be operating properly on PC, and this is a great concern to me because I have several consoles in here which I can use, and I'm not sure what you were here with us, Ali, yesterday, but we were testing the stream on Xbox, which was Destiny 2 stream, and the reason that was simple, I didn't actually plan to do this because I basically decided not to use my Series S for streaming due to the glitch on Twitch app, or the integration of Twitch app on Xbox within the menu system, and that doesn't work at all. It's just absolute catastrophe. It's got absolutely nothing to do with streamer or the console. It's all to do with the way Microsoft had been doing the integration. And what's I trying to say about that? Yeah, so it absolutely doesn't work, and we had serious problems because our friend Playmore UK was here, and he said we can hear no sound at all. There's no sound. I mean, what is going on? And it was like shocking, considering how audible and interactive the channel is, that suddenly there was nothing. And I had to really restart the console and reload things and try a few things, and eventually, on the third attempt, the app or the streaming began to work. But that's just completely unacceptable, and it's totally flawed as far as we're concerned. And maybe they'll come up with some other platforms that will compete with it. But you know the idea. The one that gets in first steals the bride. They were the first ones that got in. In fact, there was another company before them. They were called something else, which then were renamed and bought by another group of owners, and then developed into Twitch. And they took off in a major fashion in 2015. And I've gone to the head offices in London for developer conventions, for the developer events, which is like one-off evening events, and fantastic offices, and met some of the executives, and we talked about all these things. And the feeling I had was that Twitch was a company that began to grow exponentially sooner than what they expected, and they didn't have really human resources to suffice the interest, because hundreds of millions of people worldwide using it every single day. You actually need a lot of human resources to make sure that everything works. And they have some real unbelievable tech wizards working at these offices and living there. The offices are a bit like with Google or Microsoft. You come in there and it's like a city in itself. You have to go out at all. Everything's in it, from swimming pools to gyms and restaurants and eateries and you name it. I mean, the Google offices in London are absolutely staggering. I've been there as well, and um, those people work there 24/7. But it's a huge strain on them because there aren't that many, considering the number of customers, i.e., punters, using the platform, and that is causing the issue. I think in due course, this is all new. In due course, we'll have a completely different regulation, and the companies will be run quite differently. And our friend is saying the gig streaming platform that he was hearing about I guess he was introduced in New Zealand, as you mentioned, is sort of similar to Stadia. Yeah, but the problem with Stadia was they didn't pick up. It was certainly a platform of interest, but if you have well-established consoles and streaming platforms, it's very, very hard to compete. You have got to come up with something completely new and completely exciting, interesting, and attention-grabbing for people to even attempt to try it. We're all creatures of habit. We all like doing what we've been doing, and we all like the same pair of shoes or same jacket, and it's the same thing with the tech. What's interesting? I've got now new diagnostics on Twitch, and it tells me, it gives me like a perfect spread of what platform people are watching my stream on. So it's for the first time I'm getting this, and in the US, almost 90% of the viewers of my streams are watching the stream on iPhone. So what does that tell you? People love iPhone in the US, Why would they buy Sony or Samsung if they love iPhone? iPhone's been around for a long while. It provides many things in the US that we can't get over here. So it's difficult to compete, and I think from what I gather, there are other attempts to do various streaming platforms, not just to do with Twitch and live streaming of the games, but other things like just chatting and streaming other kind of information. But it's difficult. And don't forget, the other big problem they have, if they're like a small company, is the licensing laws. Licensing laws, unless are being fully agreed on before you start with a new platform, before the platform becomes fully operational, are a massive obstacle, because the algorithms, which are used by Google, detect every single thing that you do. It's absolutely crazy. You've had streams initially and channels on Twitch that were immediately banned because there was some music in the background. It's hot, people leave the window open, they do the stream, and somebody's driving a car, parks a car out on the street, the music obviously plays blasting loud. The stream, the mic picks it up, and the algorithm detects it. And initially they were blocking and banning some of these channels, but now it's gone the other way. They've got a new system to which if you pick up that kind of unwanted music, the channel, the sound's going to be muted automatically, so you can't hear. And I have seen that quite a few times. It's annoying because you have just chatting presenters or broadcasters who are talking about different things which are really interesting, and suddenly they go mute. And that's because the music that's not even present in the room, it's not actually in the immediate environment, but the mic is picking it up. It's somewhere outside the property, and still they face the same kind of filter that's restricting access to any form of sound. So coming back to your point, maybe if we have some inventors or somebody who's introducing something ingenious, but I have a difficulty in imagining or anticipating that this could be done easily. We talk about a competitive market. The market is very competitive, but being able to get in, being able to get established is a different ballgame altogether. I'll give you an example, actually, a personal example. When I went to that developer conference, which was at Twitch headquarters UK, or I say European headquarters of Twitch, right? So it's literally in the very centre of London. It's in the opposite street. Purpose-built offices look absolutely staggering. It's just really, mouth-watering. Not massive, but really beautifully built and ultra-modern. Very much sort of like fully blending in with the idea of purple and Twitch and the icons and all that. And there were other people in there who were interested, who were involved with live streaming in general. And I stood there, and I was wearing a two-piece suit, which I guess was how to put it. It did put a spotlight on me because a lot of these developers are, a bit like grungy type of musicians, and so I was being approached by quite a few people, as they were under a huge assumption that I'd be some sort of multimillionaire investor, or some sort of guy with the money, which is strange because that's definitely what I'm not. And several have been asking me about the investments or the way the streams work, and from a business point of view. And one chap came and he said, from your description I can see you're doing it from the grassroots. Well, he says, we just look for doing that sort of investment on an industrial scale. So I said, well, fair enough, but lots of small streamers are there, and they're trying hard, and he says they never make any money. It's just when you bring into this industrial complex of advertising, marketing, promotion, pushing, and particularly on the tech side of things with algorithms, which pick up everything, then there's a different ballgame altogether. And that's really something that was very disappointing, I've got to say. I mean, he was being real. He talked about things as they really are. And we have somebody else here saying, Andrea Capitano, can I see your Titan, please? Yes, you can. I'll put the Titan on. Yeah, no worries. There's the Titan. But I want to say also to our friend, I believe, who is wanting to crack on with the game. This is a community-based channel, so we actually talk here quite a lot. We're not hammering the game in here. The game is just part and parcel of what we do. And so just for you to know, we talk a lot about everything gaming related, mental health related, and various other issues related. So it's like a radio show. That also has obviously gaming fully integrated, and that is the Titan of mine that I have to say not played for quite a while, but Future War Cult, he is, as you could see, he's wearing the Future War Cult armor. Looks very good. Anyway, come back to our friend Ali, who was saying, what about now with the sponsors? Yeah, let me just expand on what I was trying to say earlier. I think it's all well and fine to be doing that on an industrial scale and providing that degree of investment, but the man I talked to, he was just looking for that investment opportunity. Do you know what I mean? He was just literally looking at something else. He was not really interested in small streamers per se, although somebody can be called a small streamer, like Taylor Swift, Katy Perry, Billie Eilish type of pop star. I won't say syndrome, but the creation of that sort of personality. These are the people spotted very, very early. So they were very successful musicians and dancers as children, right? And they were being helped for quite some time before they were actually made fully public. Yet at the beginning, I'm not saying about all three of them, but people of that type, right? That sort of global domination magnitude. They were frequently introduced as sort of independent artists, like they're doing everything by themselves, and that's not quite the real picture. Obviously, they're very talented artists. They produce fantastic music, and they're definitely very interesting and in every way. But the industry gets involved early, and they keep giving that person a push. They keep investing. They keep creating the image. So that's all kind of honed and groomed, I should say. Well, not a good word. That's all prepared a longer period of time, and then once they come out, there's this huge investment with global marketing. And you've seen games similar to Destiny on a smaller scale, but they didn't succeed because obviously Bungie, being the creators of Halo, were connected with the big people in the industry that were able to get the global marketing. And you know the story. So about the investors today, I mean, it depends, I mean, I've been to lots of conventions to do with film and music industries, not as many to do with video gaming. And you will have trends, what is likely to be selling the best, what needs to be supported. And then you will have some people who are quite happy to be taking risk. But they'll take like small risks in between major investments, which they see as risk averse or risk free. So whether people like to accept this or not, it is very similar to investment banking, and that's across the board. That's football, that's sports, that's music, that's films, and we get sometimes amazing results. Other times it's just purely commercial, and it doesn't really satisfy many of the fans and viewers. But that's the reality. and what they were interested in at the convention there, to do with video gaming development, was various software and hardware inventions which could be, I guess, purchased very early and then developed in order to function properly within the present setups of the present systems. You know, you grab it, it's a bit like with shares. You buy like 1 penny shares and eventually it's worth like £6 or £7. It's that sort of thinking, and I guess they will be looking at what they call a full package. The full package means that the person who is involved will have to be fitting certain criteria, you know. And I don't know whether you're a music fan or whether you are, you know, follow the trends in music, but this quite a few years back now, it's 10 years ago, I met Seymour Stein, and you know, he's a very well-known artist and repertoire executive who discovered Madonna and Damon Albarn, you know, all sorts of people in the 70s and the 80s. So it's absolutely remarkable the number of new acts that he had discovered. And I had the opportunity to talk to him because I was interested in, you know, how do you support new talent? How do you do things for other people? And he said, you know, the thing is, music is incredibly important. It's obviously fundamental to the taste and it's fundamental to the future success. But what's the point of having a fantastic musician who's not a nice person, who's not attentive, who doesn't pay attention to what other people say, who's egocentric, who's, you know, self-centered? He said, for me, it is about the music when it grabs me, but it's all about the people. Because when I meet them, I get the vibe, I get the flavor of what these people are like. And I'll see them a few times, and I still pick up on the vibe, I still get the impression of what they're like. And I'll support those people who are like the full package. Amazing music, they're very nice people, and very forthcoming, very interested, very attentive. They're not interested just in themselves, they're interested in you. So it's like a communication, it's like two-way. And that is incredibly fundamentally important in that world. And you will get sometimes investors who are perhaps a bit iffy on somebody's quality work, or that say, well, there's potential, but it's not fully there, you know, like with a footballer or something like that. And they'll take the risk. And you know why? Because that person is just the right kind of character. They know that this person is a fighter. They will not give in. They really will have the goalpost always ahead of them. They'll work extremely hard to get to it, and at the same time they'll pay attention to other people. So that is, you know, that's most important, and that is what would have come out. You know, it come directly to me from the person who is in the know, who worked with very many very successful, globally well-known artists, and that's the key. He said, every year I still get a birthday card from Madonna. After all these years, she never forgets, and sometimes she calls. So you know, it's amazing. But that's the criteria. Coming back to the whole thing, what was I saying earlier? Yeah, about these new platforms, it's hard to tell. It'll be hard for them to be inventing something new that will wrestle with the existing platforms, because you know, platforms like Twitch and YouTube, and maybe what comes across through Facebook and Instagram, they have that history. They have the number of followers, viewers, users, and they have the capital, which really helps. They have a consistency in delivering high quality services, and you know, the workability of the platform, that there aren't any major drops or, you know, introductions of things which will backfire, that people hate, etc. So they have that degree of consistency, longevity, which obviously helps them. So you know, I think it will be very, very hard. So it's hard to tell. You know, we need to wait and see. I think it's always the best if you have a few major players rather than just the two of them. Half dozen will help, because they will make industry a bit more competitive. They'll try to rope in, you know, smaller companies, as we've seen with Sony and Xbox. What they keep doing is they keep bringing in successful independent developers into their umbrella group, as you've seen there with the showcase events. They basically became part owners of the studios. And just think about it, you know, having that degree of global exposure through the marketing that Xbox has, as well as the presence on Xbox Game Pass, you know, it's just a fantastic advantage. Not for everyone, though, you know, not for everyone. Some companies will feel that their creativity or their freedom is being restricted to a certain degree, and some companies will feel that the revenue they make either that sort of engagement is not sufficient. That will depend on the size of the company, of course. We've seen that with Bungie, in fact. We've seen Bungie initially being aligned with Microsoft and with the first console, and they produced 3 Halo games and the best of the buddies. Then they went independent. Then they had other partnerships, like with Activision, for instance, which didn't turn out to be particularly successful. Then they left Activision. Then they went back to Microsoft. We thought that again, Bungie is going to be part and parcel of what Microsoft do, and aligned to Xbox. Everything was available on Game Pass, the full content of Destiny 2 and everything. Then within a year, they were gone. They never really said exactly why. Initially, it looked like a long-term partnership. It looked like coming back home, so to speak. And our friend Ali says the thing that's different with this one is it's got less moderation, which is interesting. You mean moderation like the bots or human resources that are moderating? I'm quite curious, because I'll give you a clear answer on that, really. Bot is likely to succeed. Let's have a look. I'm curious. Bots or human resources? Have you got any ideas on that? Because generally, whether we like it or not, the streaming world is at the moment still grossly unregulated, right? It's a new form of communication. It's not been around for too long. As you've seen, the governments of the big industrial nations in the developed world, they're making attempts to tame and to how to put it, to regulate the way these private robot giants operate, because it has been of concern that Facebook, Twitter in particular, YouTube is there too, are not moderating the content properly. So what is being placed in there, obviously in very large volume coming from all sorts of corners of the planet, can have very negative impact on certain people. And doesn't have to be just in one neighborhood, could be negative impact globally on many different people, like for instance teenagers. And there will be a lot more regulation. So the regulation is coming. In Britain, I believe you're based in Britain, are you, Ali? So if you are, you will know that the new Digital Communications Act is being debated in the Parliament, and it is extremely strict. It has the whole lengthy list of new laws which will be applied to any social networking platform or anything which is happening in the digital universe. And probably it's going to be the first one in the world that's clearly defining on what these companies can and what they cannot do, as well as what they need to be filtering, monitoring, sanctioning, etc., etc. So, it's a very big step forward. Obviously, we were at the beginning the country that had the best internet in the world, together with the US. We've had many projects that were spearheading the effort of that sort of development, and I think this act is well overdue. So if you're thinking of platforms that have less moderation, they're unlikely to succeed. They will probably go down the route of pirate market or something. I think the regulation and the need for that degree of control is something that will be definitely affecting them. That is my assumption. And our friend says, I'm sort of guessing that probably would be bots. Well, I think the new regulation wants these companies to be having departments at which there will be people manually checking, because at the moment, I don't know, with Twitch, when I talk to them, they say the vast majority goes to algorithms. We are going to have red flag if there are repeat offenders or there are major problems coming in, but that does take a bit of time, and it does take also certainly the community membership, to be fully involved, to be intervening, because if you are reporting, I'll give an example actually. I had no problems with any participants here on my channel in 5 years. It's all been plain sailing, but we had just one incident, right, where our group, our community, was doing some Crucible competitions. It was like in between each other, and there was somebody from another country, I'm not going to specify which one, who watched this mini competition, and this was literally 6 of us doing the Crucible against one another. So it was incredibly hilarious. It was very entertaining. It was one of the best sessions we had here on the channel. It was so funny. Everyone was a dedicated veteran of the channel and Destiny, and we just, we talked many times. We played separately, or sometimes even took. Obviously, I was the only person who played with everyone live online, but this was the first time that various veterans of Destiny, who were also members of this channel or members of our community, were kind of playing against each other. So it was hilarious. So these guys watched us, and as soon as we finished, one of our friends was staying together with me to play the Crucible, and then that squad hacked into the Crucible activities, and then they tried to really spam our channel with very unpleasant messages. But it seemed to me that part of it was coming in on the bots. I don't know how they've done it, but it was obviously on a PC. And everyone watching, I said to everyone, just report immediately to Bungie and to Twitch, every one of these guys. And everyone who watched reported there was quite a few messages going in to both these companies, and have taken immediate action. It was just to do with that volume of people complaining at the same time about this activity all at once, which means the algorithm picked up something which was of concern, flagged it, somebody looked at it, and it was being immediately remedied. So that is something that will become the thing of the past, I think, unless they invent some artificial intelligence that will be immaculately precise, and then again you will have human minds really double checking on whatever the AI wants to be doing, because it's absolutely no chance for artificial intelligence to be left there to be operating by itself or without any form of control. That's not going to be happening, and we know why. So our friend says, I'm not in England, I'm based in New Zealand. Well, it's wonderful to hear. Can I just ask you, what's the time out there at the moment? Because you've got to be probably 12 hours difference, right? So it must be like 4 o'clock in the morning or something. Am I mistaken in assuming this? We have several people who are community members from New Zealand and Australia, and I've not seen them this week, but I can tell you they will pop in, and they're very, very dedicated Destiny community veterans. It'd be great for you to basically connect with them once they come in. Tonzak is one of them, and I'm trying to think what the other. Well, I'll look, and I'll ping you the details. You'll be able to see who the chaps are, because they play Destiny all the time, and they're absolutely ideal for any form of squad, any form of raid. Very nice guys and very knowledgeable on video gaming overall, and mature gamers. So really tip top, absolutely 10 out of 10. Very, very proud and privileged to have them in my community. I thought so. Our friend says it's 3 o'clock AM. Yeah, I thought so. I know that I guess you play games at night, right? And that was the case with Tonza as well. I remember him telling us that sometimes he would be up until 5, 6 in the morning, because my streams at the time would run between 10 in the morning UK time and about 3 PM. So for him it was quite difficult, and as he, if I'm not mistaken, as he was self-employed, he was able to fit in the hours and everything else. But we've had some other dedicated members from the US. I talked about them here on my stream recently, who would specifically come to the stream in order to teach others how to acquire certain weapons, how to accomplish certain tasks, and I think that is just incredible. That degree of dedication, somebody deciding not to sleep, or somebody going to bed at 8 o'clock PM in order to wake up at 4 in the morning to be able to help other community members. I find that incredible, and I find that degree of dedication remarkable, and something I really look up to. Because they really take it up as something very serious, as if they were doing, teaching at the college or at top university. It's that sort of responsibility that comes across from somebody dedicating themselves to do that, because obviously the difference in time zone, it will affect their work. And one of our community members was teaching us, me in particular, and that I can tell you, a dark haunting, right? His user ID is Matthias from the US. He was specifically waking up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning in order to work on a particular exotic task exotic weapon task with me for me to get that weapon. So it was for Sleeper, Simulant, and for Dark Drinker, and I'm eternally grateful for that, as well as some other bits and pieces in Destiny. And I think that degree of dedication is admirable. It's just incredible, and I always praise it. I always mention it to everyone, and I think this is where you realize what power the video gaming community actually has. And it's something I discovered as obviously gone down the route of becoming a streamer, and then having a sizable community very quickly on board, thanks to the game first of all, and thanks to people who are participating in everyday gaming of Destiny on all platforms. And that was just remarkable. The experience of that and everything else. And like I said, the channel was always providing the space and time for those people who are more vulnerable to join in, because to tell you the truth, I always felt a bit sorry for people who are kind of solitary gamers, and Twitch and YouTube had just completely changed the playing field for everyone. It's just completely different. Prior to that, lots of people, unless being involved in a multiplayer on the PC, would just do solitary gaming, and that's really something that's gone to oblivion. You can't imagine anyone doing that today, and surely if you play Skyrim or Fallout, you'll hook up with Twitch and you'll get some other people coming in and do some streams, and so it becomes very, very interactive. The degree of interactivity is most important for anything that we do here in this forum, and it's all about communication. And that is the reason as to why entertainment industry, particularly music and film industries, are suffering tremendously as the result of this surge. I mean, think about Oscars, the Academy Awards, and various other events, with musicians and artists being presented at the red carpet 10 years ago, and then today. It's just, you can barely compare it. And I feel that the future of those industries will be dependent on the wisdom of the executives on how they are going to be connecting their resources with live streaming. Film industries in particular are still preventing that from being real, and that will affect the attendance and the viewing and the interest and everything else. They need to think how to allow films to be streamed and then offer products for people to buy, like cosmetics. So you stream a film, let's say watch Batman or Spider-Man, and you're selling all the cosmetics as you're streaming that film through whatever platform. Could be Twitch, could be anything else, but it needs to be aligned, needs to be connected. So this is being made possible. And I can assure you they would make billions on the sales of these kinds of products. They still believe that the old-fashioned way, people going to cinema or buying a DVD or Blu-ray or purchasing it digitally, is going to do it, and I don't think it will. I think it lacks that degree of interaction, and people want to interact. It's the biggest, the best, the most important part of what we do here, and that is what will be carrying on. That's the future. In my time as a streamer, so we are talking about 5 years, I have seen such great advancements of everything that's being done. The best example is, for instance, my stream. Today, I can be importing overlays through Stream Elements and Lightstream, and that became possible late last year. So we're talking about 8-9 months ago. It's not possible before. Previously, if you want to have overlays, and this is what you see there on the screen, right, with donors and the Twitch and YouTube channels and all this. The only way you could do that was if you've done something on your computer, your PC. So you'd use some platform, to do it, and obviously you need to buy a computer and everything else. This is becoming a lot more accessible, and obviously you have to be paying subscriptions, but still it works out quite well on within those price ranges, and it's just one step up, and the market becomes competitive. Lots of companies offering this, and a lot of people thought, well, Twitch is never going to allow this, and at the moment they're obviously having second thoughts about these partnerships, because they're allowing a live stream to be using Twitch streams in order to, I guess, introduce some of the products and services, which will be, or already is, affecting Twitch financially. But I think the corporation, the company needs to think about the alternatives, because this is the future. The future is in partnerships, and as we've seen with Xbox and Sony, they had to really backtrack on some of the things said in the past, because the tech had opened up these opportunities and those possibilities, and that's the bottom line. That's what goes on. And if somebody is not really fully in sync with his trends and his developments, they will lose out in a major way. And right. So let me just tell you a few things about our fundraising campaign. Just coming back to what myself and Ali talked about the streamers and different platforms and then the community members. What we do here is we are supporting those people, those gamers, and anyone basically who's watching Twitch, who's feeling a bit more vulnerable, and we want them to join us to talk. And if they talk, they'll feel less alone to start with. They'll have other people to share some of their ideas with. And particularly if, for instance, I give an example, there are people who are playing Path of Exile on Minecraft on that, don't know what the mod's called, the survival level, where you can't save, so you can play the game for, I don't know, 6 months, 10 months, 2 years, and you must not die, because if you are eliminated or you're killed, you need to start the game from the beginning. And I've come across with people who suffered tremendously. Excuse me. I apologize, my voice sometimes goes. I've come across some gamers who really suffered emotionally due to the fact that suddenly they lost it all, after so long. And that itself, just bear with me, my stream's gone for some reason. Why is that? Hopefully you can see and hear everything. Do apologize. For some reason there's some sort of issue in here. Not sure what's causing it. We'll see. I've got 3 devices, which I'm monitoring at all times, to make sure that everything is. I know what it is. So why am I not getting? Yeah. Looks like some sort of issue there. I'm not sure what's causing it. Anyway, I can see that everything is as good as it should be. And that's the benefit of having these devices fully plugged in, right? Yeah. I was going to say that style of gaming, which is, I guess, anxiety-provoking, that at all times you must not die in that game, because if you do, you have to start it right from the beginning. And when it did happen to some of the gamers, it did cause them a considerable emotional pressure. And some people really feeling rattled because they've lost it all. So, you kind of question the wisdom of it all if you are going to be affected as badly. But it's not possible to be able to play these games, considering the challenges and everything else that comes your way, without the possibility that you are going to be needing to start from the beginning, right? It's actually 2 years of your life that go. So, anyone who's experiencing that sort of thing is most than welcome in here, because what we do here is we provide entertainment and a kind of online gaming that is, first of all, highly interactive, and then providing a lot of fun. We don't do it for that degree of competition, so we are really getting the scores. So that's just one example. But on the other hand, anyone who's experiencing any difficulty out there could always join us, because we are all here to talk and to support. And that's the reason why I had formally connected to these charities and to Tiltify. Tiltify is the platform that provides us with everything that enables charitable fundraising online here through various gaming forums, and then the charities that I personally support. So I select them from the list, and sadly we don't have that many that are based in the UK, but those are selected, and these are Mind UK, Mind Charity UK, Shelter, that deals with people who are experiencing or are threatened with homelessness, then Epilepsy Scotland, dealing with people who are suffering from epilepsy, or indeed people who are members of the families. Then we have Great Ormond Street Hospital, Hospital for Children in London. Then we have, what else do we have? We have St Jude Hospital for seriously ill children in the US. Again, a medical facility that provides research and experience and works that can be then shared with other medical professionals worldwide who can then tackle the same diseases elsewhere. And a remarkable facility also closely connected to Xbox and Microsoft. If you're interested by the works they did together at St. Jude's, you'll be able to access this through Xbox Wire and various other platforms where there are like mini documentaries, and you can see that also on YouTube. Just put down St. Jude and Xbox and you get the information. They created a fantastic infrastructure at the hospital for very old children to play games for free through the Game Pass and everything else that Xbox offers, as well as to be able to connect with other kids worldwide, to interactive forums, and it's just a true wonder. It's a fantastically therapeutic set of tools which have been introduced to that hospital for the children to feel fully engaged, less alone, and on the same level as everyone else who is actually not suffering from any illness. I was really impressed and really in awe of what was created in there, all through voluntary and charitable contributions. Many of those came from Xbox and Microsoft, but then also there were some other private investors and donors. And the works and facilities provided are state of the art. And just think about it, for a child that's been taken away from the environment, from the parents, from a school, they're in hospital, they're afraid. Being able to connect with other children and be just like anyone else is of unbelievable priceless therapeutic value. So I really support this, and the charities that we're supporting are, as I said, very, very similar. They're very necessary for our local communities, and this is what we'll carry on doing in here for the time to come. So just remember, if you are somebody who's experiencing a difficulty, then join our community. If you are a person who knows other people in the community who require assistance, again, join us and tell us whether you need any advice or any assistance or any direction. I'll provide that either live on air or through the confidential kind of direct messaging, if people are obviously concerned about the data or anything else that has been said. So you can do it at any time. And also I want to ask people who want to contribute financially or in any other way, just join us. You can donate, and just keep in mind that the charity I'm supporting at the moment, which is Mind Charity, the Mind Charity UK, is a charity that saves lives. So if you're helping them with those donations, you become an active participant in the process of saving lives. And I think that itself is also priceless. It's really a truly noble, good deed where you can feel good about yourself and about what you've done. And what better reward can there be but being aware that you actually help somebody, save somebody's life, or you are a contributor in the process to which people who are doing this every single day get additional support and carry on with the services. So if you're interested, I will place a link here which will tell you what we do, and on the link you'll get like my profile on Tiltify. You get the stream, so anytime I'm streaming you can get it. You can get live stream. You can get also some of the playback. You have information on the charity I'm supporting, which is the charity based in the UK called Mind. All information is there on everything they do. Obviously they do a lot of different works. And then we have information on Tiltify, the platform that is enabling it and making sure that we can run these charitable campaigns, which are legal and legit and monitored. And then you have information on what I do, the channel and all that's been done so far. So a very, very good way of finding out more. So let me just put the notes there. It'll say so the link is coming your way. I've written down here that if you want to join us, and indeed if you want to be supporting the charity, you can just click on the link, get all the information, become much clearer to everyone. that's the charitable donations link. You can just have a look and get some ideas on as to why I personally believe that this charity is incredibly important to us, and as to why the charity is helping so many people in our local community. Don't forget, we are living in very testing times, and we suffer from a massive economic crisis. Doesn't matter what they say on the BBC or Sky News, just completely ignore that. We are suffering from huge economic pressure, which is the result of the way things are, or the way things have been for the last 20 years. And the cost of living in Britain is almost unmanageable. It's just really incredibly high for the vast majority of our citizens, and many people are struggling. And therefore, there are lots of issues attached to that struggle, being worried about losing your job, or losing your job, and being worried about the money you need to pay for rent, mortgage, any other outgoings, the energy bills, which are incredibly high. And all of that can have a very knock-on effect on somebody's emotional well-being. What I can say to everyone is that when the times are hard, you have got to be living healthily. It's just absolutely, the primary objective. If the times are hard and you live unhealthily, then things will just go in a massive decline. And you know what I mean by living healthily: eating well, sleeping well, not being overly stressed, putting everything into some sort of reasonable perspective, what is possible, what isn't possible. Don't put your head to the wall where you can see that things are not working out. There's always another opportunity, there's always some other way out. And leading a life which is balanced. Don't really stay up all night every night and sleep little. If you stay up all night, sleep the whole day. But you've got to have that sleep, because the sleep is critical to the ability to which you will regenerate and you will lead a healthy lifestyle. And a lot of people forget this today. A lot of people are resorting to all-night sessions, all sorts, and unfortunately lots of people are being pushed into night shifts. So they work day jobs, they work night jobs because they need to pay the bills. And I think our priority here is to deal with issues which come out as collateral, which means people get affected mentally and emotionally due to this. And we are here to help. And Mind Charity UK is definitely the charity that provides that sort of assistance to literally everyone. So it's incredibly important that everyone realizes that no one's immune. We are all susceptible to that degree of pressure under certain circumstances, and not everyone is strong enough to just get through it. Some people unfortunately buckle, and therefore these services are absolutely fundamental. So, like I said, this charity is the first one I'll support here on my channel in the line of many, and I just like for a wholehearted support from every community member, because we want the campaign to be as successful as possible. In fact, I forgot to tell you, I had almost daily communication from the charity, and I did get today a pack of different types of rewards which can be given to the donors. So this pack includes some t-shirts, it includes some pens, it does have some stickers, and I think that there is a lot more to come. So it's just the first in line of many of these packages, and we are going to be rewarding everyone who is going to be actively involved in that campaign. As I said, it doesn't have to be just by donating, it can also be by being fully involved with the promotion. So just leaving some postings on Twitter, Facebook, or any other forum will definitely raise the profile, and it really helps if it comes from people who are fully aware of the need, and sometimes people who've gone through such services and people who had felt helped, and therefore they put their personal example across, which is what you might have seen sometimes on Twitter. And I think that is truly remarkable, first of all for disclosing that information, which is obviously completely voluntary, and then secondly making it very personal, because you actually give the example that tells everyone that these services have helped your life, and that is priceless compared to anything else. All that online bot-based marketing, that's never going to work when you can read somebody's words that are being written or spoken from heart, that tell you how, for instance, a fractured life had been put back together by those people who worked there so hard to make sure that that life was saved. And I will always support that. All right, well, I talked quite a lot. I think having a look, we have some questions coming. Actually, there were some news I wanted to tell you. They're related to the Summer Game Fest, and also to a few things which were said in its aftermath. So two different things. One is about the festival altogether, the impressions, the experiences, etc. And the other is about the streaming services. And both are actually quite contentious, quite controversial. So first of all, if you watch the Summer Game Fest, like myself, and if you watch the main presentations, the showcase events, you would have realized that they were done in a somewhat different fashion compared to what we've seen before. I did feel that this was more of a sort of event where you are getting an objective style presentation. You didn't feel 100% driven to some form of selling or purchasing, which indeed had been the case with E3. So E3 had been cancelled because lots of these companies decided to basically do their own show, and they felt that being at the running different market stalls will just oversaturate the interest, and people may not see what the best products are or were from a specific company. So I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought the presentation was very good, and we had many interesting trailers. We had a lot of developers joining us to tell us all about the new game, and that was all very interactive. There were after showcase events and post showcase events, whatever, and we had interactivity through Twitter in particular, people asking questions. We had quite a number of streamers and companies reviewing the event online. So it became very, very significant and very busy with interesting things said, which were giving us obviously food for thought. And 2 or 3 days later, so the event ended, I think, on Tuesday. So it's like 2 or 3 days later, I'm reading through various Twitter postings, and I can't stop thinking that there are people out there, first of all, who just, they're like nasty people, or they just want to mean harm. On the other hand, the question is whether lots of these profiles are actually real, whether they are fake profiles that are being created on an industrial scale by some people who really dislike what Jeff and his team are doing. Jeff Keighley is the CEO of the Game Awards and the person who's obviously behind the festival that we just watched over the weekend. So many negative things being said, which I think are completely baseless, completely groundless. I don't understand as to why somebody could say, well, there's going to be nothing to play after everything we've seen. Or somebody said, well, we've seen all of this before. What did you see before? I mean, it's like new games. Star Wars Outlaws and Starfield was hugely anticipated games. The Lies of P, for instance, a game I've never heard of and highly excited to be playing its demo. We have The Division now popping up to different mobile platforms. We have the same thing with Assassin's Creed being delivered either as a console/PC game or another game called Nexus that will be viewed through virtual reality sets, or you have the third one, that will be featuring on mobile phones. I mean, it's all exciting. It's really interesting that this is happening, and there's a lot of buzz about lots of new titles coming in, as we've had a bit of a lull during the pandemic and a couple of years after. So, it's really strange that we're just suddenly marred by that degree of negativity, and I really wonder, well, what sort of being a bonnet do you have? What's the idea? Why are you so hateful, and why are you so negative about all that's been seen? Of course, there are some games in there that perhaps do not come across as desired. Prince of Persia, for instance, a huge criticism about music, but that's relevant. The music was clashing with the imagery that we were seeing, and also with the series. And I'm quite certain that the developer, Ubisoft, will decide to change this because of that selection of that avalanche of negative comments, which were actually quite specific. They were quite real, so they were not pulled out of a hat. And also, lots of people said, well, what sort of in-game mechanics are they going to be? Because this is so different to what we've seen previously. And I also wondered about this. I thought, well, hang on a minute, this is to bring it back to the platformers of the 1980s and or early 1990s. And how is this going to be working with the skills tree and all the other things that you are familiar with in the games like Diablo or Redfall or any other ones, just to mention a few of the recent ones. And so these are the legit questions. But I'm just saying that because of this, the game's rubbish, or that the developer is not good. We know how many fantastic titles Ubisoft have produced over the years, and I just really hit by that. And in fact, one of our community members contacted me just before the stream, and she said she watched a few of these showcase events, and she was really surprised by this sort of polarized view. And I said to her, well, you know, that's obviously coming our way on an industrial scale, because somebody really doesn't like the idea that there are going to be many more independent showcase events where some of the big cheese is going to be obviously losing against the interest and perhaps some revenue. And it just didn't really gel with me. And I'm not saying that we all have to be absolutely in awe or full of praise for the events, but some of those comments I feel are completely groundless. The one thing that concerns me in hindsight is the sheer number of great titles that are being created. So many games for the next 12 months. And in addition to that, they also are introducing demos and betas for quite a number of those titles. It'd be very difficult to pick up on every one of those and to find enough time. You know, for our streamers, we obviously are usually attached to one game, or a couple of games in fact, and you know, there isn't enough time. But still, I'm amazed by the quality. I'm amazed by the versatility. I am excited about the new directions that certain games are taking. And you know, it's just a lot to look forward to. And I can just say to those other people, if you're not looking forward to it, well, just you know, maybe do something else, do some gardening or do some fishing, not in Destiny, but you know, out there, go up and about, come back, clear your head, watch these things again, maybe you'll have a different view. Generally, I don't like that degree of toxicity and negativity. I think it's very negative for everyone, particularly those people who naturally have a tendency to perhaps be slightly disappointed easily or not very happy about certain things which come their way, and you know, it just stimulates that negativity aura. In fact, in order to be creative, positive and forward thinking, we need to crack on. We need to think about, you know, the good things. And on the good side of things, well, one more thing about this. I watched that IGN review of Xbox Showcase presentation, and IGN usually run a good, you know, have a large panel. It's very interesting participants, and there was one person in there who said, I mean, I can't remember her saying in the course of that review one positive thing. Didn't like the showcase, didn't like Starfield, didn't like Star Wars Outlaws. We've seen all of this before. You know, didn't like this, didn't like that. It's just that I thought, hang on a minute, I don't get it. You may ask a question as to why Starfield is as big, offering us a galaxy. Is this going to be doable or manageable once you do the game? That's a relevant question. So I don't like. She could have said, I don't like the games of that size because I don't have the time. Fair enough. We understand that. But saying that what we've seen from Starfield is disappointing is, yeah, defies logic. Or I thought, hang on a minute, maybe you watched some other presentation. And it just went on and on. Other people obviously very excited and had relevant comments. There's one person, I don't want to obviously name the person for obvious reasons, but if you watch the presentation, you'll see who she was and what she was doing. And I even wondered whether they decided to run the panel like that, because if they were just giving terrible praise, people say this is completely undemocratic because you're biased, you're supporting the developers or the publishers. And I think that's also nonsensical, because sometimes certain presentations are amazing. It's as simple as that. And sometimes they could be awful. But what we've seen was not awful, you know. So anyway, coming back to that, and I had a bit of a debate with a community member from Germany earlier today, in which she also said that she was surprised by this sort of huge amount of division that emerged, and these types of comments that were being thrown at Jeff and everyone else. But you know, you expect some of that, I guess, and we need to just resort to these ones that are relevant and reality based. People could say that Clockwork Revolution is certainly mind-boggling, because when watching it, I thought this is just another installment of Bioshock, particularly Bioshock Infinite. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the game is going to be bad. And anyone or everyone who said, well, is this the new Bioshock, is actually talking from a reality-based perspective. And if they said, well, this is all rubbish, well, obviously you're not watching the same presentation, because the graphics in there are just state-of-the-art. They're absolutely mouth-watering. Anyway, that's probably all I want to say about the convention. You know what my views were. I talked about it literally throughout the week, recommended you quite a few games, and for me, I can't wait to see Starfield, obviously my sort of game, with a galaxy to explore, which is much bigger than the one in Mass Effect, and Mass Effect being my favorite game of all times, together with Destiny. And the other big game that I really look forward to is Star Wars Outlaws. Can't wait for that. It looks amazing. If they obviously deliver, if they really have the game which is as interesting as described, then probably is going to be the best Star Wars of all. And then we have Lies of P, which really kind of surprised me. Never heard of the game. I'll play the demo as soon as possible. Then we have Clockwork Revolution, again, game I never heard of. Very excited about, and looked brilliant. And you know, the list just goes on. We got Final Fantasy. We have the Division. We have the DLC for some of the games. We have the new stuff coming to Elder Scrolls Online. Then we have well, this just goes on, and you know, one game better than another. But I think if we were talking about those I'm most excited about, it's those four. It just really they grabbed me, and two of them, obviously heavyweights, and the games we were anticipating. Actually, I'll stand corrected. I didn't anticipate Outlaws. I've not heard much about the game. I knew that they were involved with something to do with Star Wars, but this is like, you know, properly introduced as brand new. We all heard about Starfield, the game prepared for 10 years, and it's been in Todd Howard's mind, I think, for 24, 25. He said he began thinking of that game or creating it in the late 90s. So think about it. It's a very long time. And they worked on all the other games over the years, like Skyrim and all the others. And then the two games that I've not heard of, and that look really appetizing. I mean, I love Bioshock, and having a similar sort of game. I don't think it's going to be similar in terms of gameplay, but the environment looks very, very similar. And then the Lies of P is a game that brings us back to, I think, medieval France, and well, the environment looks very French and very appetizing. So, you know, it brings me back to Plague Tale and what had happened there with the lead character and a brother. Although this is a different game, so there's no similarities, but just the aura of the old France that really draws me to the game straight away. The other big thing is this debate on the streaming platforms, and again, I have got to say, similar to what we heard in relation to the Summer Game Festival, there's a huge division between all these people who are playing games on various platforms. Because on one hand, you get people like myself, who is absolutely delighted that today we have the access to Game Pass and PS Now, or I should say PlayStation Plus, as it's been renamed recently, where we can access, with those two combined, more than 1,000 games, you know, at any time on a subscription price. So that really works out for me. Instead of buying individual games and not being able to try the vast majority of those titles, I can just walk in and try anything at any time. Both services now are providing cloud access, which is instant streaming, so you can always try out the new games that are being added to the platform and decide whether you like them or not. It is very possible, if you consider the numbers of the users, that some of these games were selling quite well, because not all of them will remain on the platforms. And again, we have a community that is divided. On one hand, we get people who think this is amazing, but then on the other, we get people who think this is the worst thing ever invented. And I don't ask why. What's the reason? Why don't you like the games which are being offered through those platforms? Are you actually working as a developer and you feel begrudged that you're not included and you're not getting that degree of global publicity? Are you just a punter who just hates these games? Or you know, what's the idea? Anyone who's been playing games for 20, 30 years will tell you, in the old days, first of all, there weren't that many titles. We didn't have that many games. Number two, the games you bought for your PC frequently didn't work. The reason for that was they had a different configuration that was not compatible with your PC. I actually I've listened to that a couple of weeks ago on Larry Hrybb's podcast. He talked about it. He said, do you guys remember when we bought games and we're excited, paid $50 for them, went back home, and then they wouldn't load, and there was no way to which we can actually fix this unless we bought a different computer which was compatible with the system? Can you imagine this? That's the way things were. So anyone who's gone to that will obviously say that the new system is delightful because A, you don't have to spend all that money, and B, you can access the games first to try them, and if you like them, as it is the case with Diablos and Cyberpunks of this world, you'll purchase them because you want to keep these games. It's just, just like a plain logic. And Microsoft did observe an increase on sales for quite a few of these games that otherwise wouldn't be selling at all. It may well be that the AAA blockbusters are not having such good sales if they're included on day one. But they will be bought. They won't be bought on day one, but they will be bought in due course. If you like the game, you tried it, you played it, you know that the game's going to disappear from the system, you are going to buy it. It's as simple as that. The money will not come on day one, but 2 or 3 months later you still buy the game. And I can say for myself, I'm really a savvy trader. I always pay attention to the price drops, and I will always want to buy the very best game on the best possible price or the offer, which doesn't have to be minimal, but it's the best price offered. And I bought loads of games off after trying them on PlayStation and on PS Now previously, and on the Game Pass. I just wanted to have them because it was a good price. I liked the game, played it through cloud and later through download, and I want to keep it because I'll come back to it some other time. I want to share it, with friends and family or other community members. And I think definitely for me is the way forward. But as I said, very, very divisive, very unfriendly dialogue out there on these platforms, through which many people are just rubbishing the streaming platforms, and I don't see the real argument as to why that should be the case. It could be just purely monetary, and again, it did make me think, coming back to what I said earlier to our community member in Germany, that I feel that lots of these profiles are basically fake, and they're being created on an industrial scale by the competitors, people who really think that the system is undermining their potential or their ability. And fair enough, people can feel that the system's not good for them, but doing it like this is creating just a negative aura. And like they said in various presentations, if people don't subscribe to those services, if they're not downloading or using the cloud, then the interest will be dropping and eventually the service will cease. Well, do you really want to be paying all that money for every single game that you just want to try and then later you put in a bin or give it to a charity shop? Not all games are incredible. Some games are fantastic, other games are good, and then there are some games that don't really deliver, and it is disappointing to spend a huge amount of revenue on a game that definitely does not. Think about it. Redfall came out recently. It was a huge disaster, and the biggest complaints were coming from people who bought the game in advance, pre-ordered. For us on the Game Pass, we were disappointed, but we are absolutely certain that Arkane Studios will spend days and nights working on patches to bring this game to the standards that we initially expected. So 6 months later, the game will be great. It may not be perfect, it may not be the game that we had expected, but it will be a lot better because they'll first of all listen to the community, which indeed is attached to the Game Pass as well, and the community that's providing constructive feedback, which means they're not coming up with the nonsensical comments or just, which are full of toxicity and negativity. And they'll basically tailor everything. I did give you yesterday the rundown on the patch, which was made active a couple of days ago, and it's massive. It's like so many things have been changed, and it was all down to the community feedback. So you've seen Cyberpunk the other day with the what's it called, it's the Phantom of Liberty or something similar, the new DLC for CD Red's AAA heavyweight title. And the game also didn't deliver initially, but it's a great game today. They spent months and months trying to really improve the game to the standards which were expected, and then eventually I think people who had invested would not be very unhappy because they could see that a lot of work was being done and the comments were being taken on board. The games like Anthem unfortunately didn't succeed, and there wasn't enough time spent on them eventually because they've taken the decision that, in my belief, the game cannot perform better because there are still technical limitations in terms of what they wanted to achieve, and they just migrated to other games like Dragon Age, next installment, as well as Mass Effect. And that is then very disappointing. It's huge amount of unhappiness at the time when the premium edition was released, where people felt that they couldn't access their closed beta, they couldn't access. It was ridiculous because I played closed beta, open beta, and what was that? It was 3 lots that were being offered. I can't remember exactly now what they were called. And what did happen, that the Cataclysm event, which was being promised for the closed beta, only occurred on the one which was free for all. So obviously people very begrudged, because that didn't seem to be living up to the hype, the potential, and most importantly to the promise. Just backtrack to the trading standards. If you're offering that to somebody who's pre-ordering, paying $100 for it, you have got to be absolutely certain you'll be able to deliver, otherwise it's fraud. So, coming back to it, I certainly support those streaming platforms. I think, the other example, I'm an avid cinema fan. I write in film and seen God knows so many films over the years. I watch things on Netflix, I watch things on Amazon Prime, I watch them on YouTube, but I go to cinema. It's compatible. I don't want to see every film in cinema. I've got films that are really cinematic and I believe are the best seen in, on the big screen. And for some other films, I don't want to pay 15 or 20 pounds to watch, and I'll watch them on these platforms. But yet again, when I watch them on these platforms, I still contribute. I've paid a subscription. They will get some revenue from me and from other people. So there is that space for everyone, and please don't try to ruin something that is actually very beneficial. Don't like it, don't use it. Fair enough. Try something else. That's really what I picked up on. It's just a bit surprised with the degree of negativity and all the other not that interesting, really, comments and views, full of toxicity. There's always somebody else who kind of hates something, which is, I guess, part of our human endeavor. But at the end of the day, having so much of it given on an industrial scale, I mean, Jeff is such a nice guy. He's like working so hard to provide the very best of entertainment for those avid gamers, and everything he did, like he said the other day, I couldn't believe I'd be running it here from this major theater, YouTube theater in Los Angeles, when I was doing this in 2020 from a front room due to the pandemic. And yes, it's true. In a couple of years, it's been raised to that sort of top level because of the interest and because of the way they've done it. The other thing, the debates between PlayStation and Xbox, there's enough space for both consoles. You can play one or the other. But what I find interesting is that today, yet again, I read another article in which the Sony executives say we are never going to be providing our own exclusives on day one through streaming platforms. They will have to eat their words. They will not be able to resist this, because Xbox is having a huge number of people who are both subscribing to the Game Pass, and most importantly, as the Game Pass is now integrated with certain television sets, they don't have to buy the console. So think about it. You watch it on your new Samsung, you access these games, you pay for the subscription, you don't have to pay for the game itself separately. It's a huge benefit. You honestly, I think some of the policies that Sony are pursuing are really outdated, and they also said they will never offer some of these titles through the streaming services in the past, and you could see that they just rehashed the streaming services previously. PlayStation Now, today called PlayStation Plus, Extra and Premium, and the statistics today say that the vast majority of people go for the premium. Well, it's obvious, because premium is offering you a fantastic service to which you can try many different games. You have trials, albeit the trials are very anecdotal. I've seen some games that are offered like for 2 hours. Well, coming to Cyberpunk, for instance. Cyberpunk was offering 5 hours, which I played. But it's good enough for you to get a flavour of the game, and the list just grows. They keep throwing in lots of different games. There are lots of demos as well. So that's really kind of a new addition, something very exciting. You feel really paying a bit of extra for that service is a good idea, because you're accessing that information. You're able to watch and see all these things that are on offer, and similar to, I guess, trying out the game on Game Pass. If you don't like the game after 5 hours, you're not going to carry on. You just dislike it. It seems to be sufficient amount of time. Well, if you're entering the games like Cyberpunk or God of War, well, that is just scratching the surface. But still, you were given that opportunity. And I think their service had been massively improved. It's a lot better streaming-wise as well for the games that cannot be downloaded, and just performs better. As well as they have a greater number of titles that integrated Ubisoft, similar to what you have on the Xbox, not to include the Ubisoft Plus, the new streaming service that was introduced a couple of months ago. And it's definitely a service that requires more attention. And I've got both platforms. I subscribe to the both services. I enjoy them both. In fact, I kind of tend to play more on the streaming services on Xbox because of I guess the overall easy access. I know what it is. Previously, many games on PlayStation were not downloadable, and if you're not having the fastest fiber, then sometimes some of the games will not perform too well when you're streaming them. So with those on Xbox, every game was downloadable from the beginning, and I could just download and watch and play, and so that's one of the reasons. On the other hand, I've got quite a list of games that I do want to play on PlayStation now, and I keep calling PlayStation Now, it's called that PlayStation Plus Premium, and it's quite a lengthy list. Games like what is it called? The Hideo Kojima's game, the big one. It's not Dead Reckoning. It'll come to me. The games like God of War and Valhalla, for instance. I'm looked at them, but I've not actually played the games in full. And the factor of time still comes up. It's certainly under question mark, and I always try to fit in the game so I can have a proper run. So I'm not hopping from one game to the other, albeit in the recent times when I was doing the streams, then I did have that sort of difficulty, the difficulty to fit in everything, because obviously you spend all of your time doing Destiny and then all the other games are being placed on the back burner. And coming back to what I was saying yesterday, being a disciplined gamer is also something that is contributing to your physical, emotional and biological health. Living a healthy life, you allocate the times where you are going to be doing the games, and you engage with that world, you enjoy it, and then you leave it, you go to bed, you sleep, rather than just continue hammering it all night long. Anyway, I sort of digressed a bit. The questions from our community, I'm not going to be introducing today because I talked a lot about them during the first 3 days of this week. So today we've had the presentation of the news and all other things that we talked about, and also the questions that people asked so far. So the next thing we'll do here is obviously Destiny. We'll crack on with some fierce gameplay in Destiny 1. And before we do that, I need to tell you that yesterday we had some serious problems with audio on our Destiny 2 stream, which is based on that new Twitch integration on Xbox Series S. My update on PlayStation didn't register properly, and it was quite a big update. For whatever reason, it was asking me for 10 gigs. I don't understand why, because just a Tuesday reset. There was no need for that, but it just kept coming back to that 10 gigs, and I couldn't stream it on my PlayStation straight away. So I've gone to Series S, thinking we'll just do a bit of gameplay, but actually it didn't perform at all. It was not having any audio to start with, which is part of the problem with that integration that Xbox did do a few months ago. And then we've had problems with picture. It was a bit choppy, I thought. Eventually, I double-checked later on playback, we did manage to get some audio. It's completely unpredictable. So I do apologize to all of our friends. I know Playmore wants to watch it because he was interested in some of the aspects of the weekly missions, and he reported immediately there was no sound at all from the broadcaster, and there was absolutely nothing I could do. And obviously we can sometimes do streams on Series S, but that will be for certain activities, like if we have a community member who wants to be doing something, let's say related to Lightfall or to the Witch Queen, we'll just migrate and do that, and we'll try to get the audio to work as best as possible, but that's just completely outside of our hands, and the vast majority is going to be on PlayStation 4, because guess what? On PlayStation 4 the app doesn't work properly, but it's a lot better compared to Xbox Series S. So the problem here is that we get stoppages. I talk, and then on the playback I can hear I'm being constantly muted, and that's the problem with this update that they launched in February. It's been widely reported. You go to PlayStation, you go to Xbox, you talk to their customer services, they'll tell you, oh, you're the first person reported this. So are you reading Twitter? Are you actually looking at your forums? There are millions of complaints. No, absolutely unconcerned. And I don't know really what the reason for that is. Because I would imagine that these companies would have found streaming through these platforms on the consoles as probably not beneficial. Because why otherwise would you be wanting to do such updates that are going to be ruining people's livelihoods or their communities due to the inability to transmit and broadcast properly? I don't know. It's a question for some other day. Alright friends, I need to take a very short break, like literally 30 seconds, because there's not one place where I need to go to now and then. Once we come back, we are going to be cracking on with Destiny 1 gameplay. We'll do a bit of Silas, we'll do a bit of Strikes, we'll crack on with the Nightfall as well. So stay with us, I'll be back in 5 minutes. Right, my friends, here we are. We are going to be cracking on with some activities here in Destiny 1. Just want to ask our friend Ali if he wants to be joining us with some of the strikes, because I know that last time Ali wanted to do some, what was it, Sivas together with us. So just let me know if you're still watching, and I know it's like 3 or 4 in the morning in New Zealand, but just ping us a message, tell us whether you want to join us, and we'll just crack on. You know, we'll have plenty to do in here, and I think the idea is to have some Sivas and maybe that Nightfall, maybe some story missions as well, because they changed on Tuesday, and yesterday we were just doing a few of these. We haven't gone through the whole selection of the novelties that were introduced to us on Tuesday. Anyone who is new to the channel, you'll be probably not aware of the fact that, I would say new to Destiny, I beg your pardon, it's my fault. If you're new to Destiny, just keep in mind that on Tuesday night that is, in Britain, we are getting Destiny Reset, and that's both for the original game and for the sequel. So that is what we get. And yesterday I tried to get the weekly story mission completed in the sequel, which worked well. I completed it, and it was very enjoyable, I have to say. It was a very big boss to eliminate, and it did take quite a bit of time. It was a team of 6 really trying to destroy some massive big ogre that takes very, very little damage, irrespective of the mods that you're using. And I've used Risk Runner on him, and I used what was it? I should use Glaive actually, but didn't, you know, any major weapons didn't seem to be causing a lot of damage, not just through myself, but also by the with the engagement of everyone else who was participating. So you know, it was slightly challenging but very enjoyable. And I think what we'll do today is we'll just look at all the other activities here. So what we've seen is that we can't get to the tower initially. We get the error message saying Weezer, Baboon and Beaver, and the best way of doing it is just by going to the reef, picking up some bounties in there, and then going back to the tower after some of the Sivas missions have been completed. I think I've still got some bounties, and yeah. So Secretary Fire was completed yesterday. Then we have Queen's Ambassador, also completed yesterday. You can see my reputation with the Queen is not that great. The Future War Cult reputation is sizable. And then we also, where is it now? Oh, it's gone. Oh yeah, it's inventory. Progress. I don't like this about Destiny 1 when I'm being constantly booted. See? What I was going to say is I wanted to double check the reputation. Cryptarchaeology is 30, Vanguard reputation is 45, the Crucible I've not played that much, it's 18, Future War Cult, my faction, is 31, Crotus Bane reputation, rank 3, so that's really not particularly great, and House of Judgment as well too. Not played that many House of Judgment rounds, and anybody who wants to join us at any time, just, you know, raise your hand, stand in the box, give us a shout, because that is where the pinnacle activities take place. Very popular, together with raids and Nightfall strikes, and particularly if we are doing it as a 3-piece and then having all these rounds with lots of enemies, it's challenging, but it's very enjoyable. I did it solo initially, and I really struggled, and I realized that some of those activities are definitely much better completed in a team. So I've never gone back there as a solo player. It was just it was something coming from our community participants who were sort of interested to see how well I would fare in the arena if I went there by myself, and obviously I was taught a lesson. So right, so let me see if we can go in. If not, we'll just crack on with some strikes, because otherwise, let me see, I have no idea what is happening, you know, it's just really hard to tell. So that's Prisoner Feldus, and what's this? When is Sigil? That's the challenge. Okay. Shinras. Yeah. We completed all of this the other day. I think it was on Monday. It was very enjoyable. Let's see, how many people are actually watching Destiny today? Let's see. Not many. 17 viewers. Okay. Well, we've seen that not many people either play Destiny 1 or indeed stream it, but I'm a firm believer in our community, and irrespective of what people say on Twitter and Reddit, we have very many people still engaged with board games. And what I did observe was in recent months the occurrence of those who actually never played Destiny 1 and then they decided to migrate from the sequel to the original. So you know, that's really something new that I've not seen previously, and I'm happy because I think it's a very good way. It's two different games providing you with different types of opportunities and different sort of entertaining and highly enjoyable gaming experience. Lieutenants on Mars.
Keep your eyes open.
And we'll just double check what we've got there slotted in yesterday. So let me see, we've got this one, cold shots. Yeah, these ones are still there. It's weekly bounties for Prison Fellas. So anyone wants to come in, just tell me, I'll bring it in and we can do Prison Fellas as well. Kill with fire, solar weapons, 30 precision kills, arc weapons. Yeah, I've got everything enabled. Hang on, I did something wrong. Arc weapons and solar weapons character. So that is solar. Mind you, I can use that dark drinker instead. The warpath I don't really need. So what we'll do is we'll infuse warpath with because I've got it in the vault as well. It's not that I'm gonna be, you're not gonna bawling my eyes out due to this, and it's a future war cult weapon. You get it as a reward from Lakshmi, and so that's 400, and we'll just enable Boltcaster instead of Dark Drinker. Dark Drinker is my preference. I know that some of our friends prefer Boltcaster. That's definitely not the case with me. And so we have a solar weapon, which also takes special ammunition. We have Boltcaster, which is arc, and that is going to help us with those bounties. They'll be completed. Just remember that in Destiny 1, some of the bounties are a real lengthy grind. It takes a long while to get them completed, and if you are doing them, just make sure you bring in some other people and you do it in a squad. Obviously get people on matchmaking if you do strikes or nightfall or any of those sort of advanced activities, but if you are participating in the campaign and story-based missions, then it's always the best to bring in another friend, another squad mate, and the actual activity will then become a lot more enjoyable and doable. If you're leveling up, some of the earlier missions are quite difficult because there are wizards and bosses in there, or even yellow enemies that will eliminate you at all times, and you'll just wonder, how is it that they're so strong? Well, you're not leveled up, and that's the basic difference between this game and the sequel. In the sequel, every season, everyone starts on the same level, and many Destiny veterans play the original game, think that's completely flawed, because what was the point of grinding? What was the point of trying to level up and get to that degree of ability where everyone else coming in every 4 months will be exactly the same? Well, they're not really exactly the same, because they need to be modding the weapons, they get certain armor, they need to still work quite hard, but it doesn't have that degree of step-by-step progression. I think that's the biggest complaint that many people had. Okay, this is something we don't need. Anything which is blue and green is unnecessary unless you want to be infusing some of it. And for me, I can't do it because I'm 4400 and Let's see something curious about something. Duckhorn. Whistle horn, happy horn, noisy horn. Okay, we'll equip that one. Put another ship there. See what this ship looks like. Belisarius Defiant. Why not? Try that one. Just keep everything nice and pretty, well designed. We'll change our faction. We'll put maybe Iron Pride. No, actually we can do Crown of the Sovereign. We're doing these bounties, we'll put Crown of the Sovereign there. Everything else is okay. Let me see. What else have we got there? Several engrams. Alright. This one we'll get rid of. And then 390. Another one. Well, another complaint that comes from some of our community members is that in both games, once you reach certain level, once you are obviously of certain ability, anyway, to see what this one is like. Ah, that's a different one. I quite like this one. Quite like the Eternally Assured Destruction. Yeah, they look very similar. The Lumbra. I will keep that Future War Cult Sparrow together with us because it's sort of blending in with our outfit. That's the only reason, really. 160 is the speed, similar to the rest. And okay, that's all sorted. Yeah, I was going to say that a lot of our friends complain that after you reach a certain level in both games, you're just collecting a lot of unnecessary loot, and it takes up time with admin and everything else. But one of the ideas behind this admin, in addition to you know, people needing to have a very systematic way to which to approach the game, is it gives you respite. So if you're really hammering certain activities like the Crucible, you'll need to do this, and then you have a break. I think it's a really good idea. I really think that for anyone who is a dedicated PvP player, and you know, somebody who's like on the competitive side, it's extremely important that there are breaks. You're not just doing it at all times, because it can have a very negative effect biologically on your health and well-being. Alright, so let's see the legendary engram. Anton's Rule. Yeah, I picked that up before. So that would be Neutrina, that's not useful. Not useful. Sinner Lamprey. Strange Coin, that's good. Tomorrow we'll be able to talk to Zer. And then... okay, what's that one? Yeah, it's all useless. We just need to delete everything. You know, it's funny because in the original game, Zer is giving you exotic weapons and exotic gear. And every single week we'd all go and meet Zer. But you don't have the same sense of necessity or urgency in the sequel. It's just a completely different ballgame, and I think that also is one of the complaints that some of our friends had. They thought, hang on a minute, it's always the best to wait for that weekend because that's just on Friday and Saturday we'll be able to get stuff from Zer, and these are really like good pieces that will help us to progress. Anton's Rule. Put it in the vault, we'll see. Dark Blade Spite. Okay, so that's it. That's sorted. I think we are ready. Oh, what we can do is we can use synths, and I think I'll... no, hang on. Just want to see whether he's also giving us some bounties, but I'm probably full.
Tower channel 3.
Yeah, I'm full, yeah. True enough. How many things do I have there?
Opening a channel now.
Oh, too many.
Confirmed.
It's all useless. Not a single thing that will provide us with any sort of benefit. Okay, delete some of these quickly. 1 engram. Just left some space because, you know, in case there is an exotic weapon or something, we want to have that space for that to be picked up. We don't want it wasted or trashed. Come on, hurry up. Keep getting this a lot. I wonder whether that's to do with my new internet connection, which is fairly fast, but the router that I've got has got NAT strict, and that sometimes can be causing issues with multiplayer games. Not sure really. I've seen the reports on Bungie Help indicating that they've been getting these error messages, Baboon, Weasel, and all the other ones. So it may be, or it may not be connected to the new internet that I've got. Right.
Interaction resolved.
How can that be? Oh yeah, I need to go and
Transfer acknowledged.
pick up. Yeah, that engram needs to be decoded. Alright.
Television posting is currently pending.
You know, we do this and then no more bounties than admin. Had enough of this, and we'll simply crack on.
Ask away. That should get the job done.
0-day dilemma. Okay.
Function over form, I suppose.
Oh, what's this? The Pahanin errata. Ah, I see. I've not had it before. What does it do? Hunter artifact. So it is increase intellect, increase strength, avoid accumulate. Okay, material details. If you dismantle it, you will get these materials potentially. Strength. Okay. Remember, these artifacts are like mods. They're very important in Destiny mods. It's very important you always check what abilities you're going to be getting once you pick them up. And once they get, you know, fully enabled, like this one, they get masterworked. So they're like properly done, like this one, you see. So what I'm getting in here is increasing intellect, and then I'm also having Fallen Piercer. Precision kills and fallen enemies have a chance to generate an orb, and that's Void Catalyst. And then you have Scoris Harmony. The super is full, kills cause nearby ally supers to recharge faster, which is also very important because other people there in the squad will get their health. Their supers will be recharging a bit faster. Okay, so that's all sorted. We don't want to be doing it. Hang on. I think I've got one or two things I need to go to the vault. Okay, this one I need to get rid of. This one as well. And then, yeah, that's that. And go to the vault really quickly. Not sure whether there is enough space in there. Access servers.
This is Unit Center. Please
Vault. Okay. See, where is it? Anton's rule and this one. Yeah, we'll double check whether we got any doubles. I had everything in my vault, but I really became a bit drastic, a bit severe with my maintenance of it, you know. I just discharged everything and I kept just the very best, which is exotics and then some legendaries, not anything else. Because just occupying the vault, you're not using it, and you know, there's no need for any of it.
All routes clear.
Right, so what do we do? Let's see. We'll go to orbit. Boys, what do you prefer? Type in there. What activity would you like to see? Sievers, Nightfall, story missions. What is your preference? I'm curious. I want to see. So, Well, for all of you Indiana Jones, they had yesterday, and all the oldies, golden oldies from the original series were present. Karen Allen and obviously Harrison Ford is also in the new one. So I'm quite excited to see what the new installment is going to be like. It'll be very exciting to watch it in IMAX. Right, so I'm not getting any responses. Look at this ship. That ship looks really good. Bulky, a bit like a tractor, or you know, like a 7-tonner, a major vehicle. Let me think. Weekly story playlist. Right, we'll take that one. And we'll have airborne. Does more damage while in the air. Enemy shields are resistant to all unmatched elemental damage. Match game. Heroic enemies appear in greater numbers and are more aggressive. Right. So we'll do the Iron Lords first, then we'll do some Sievas, then maybe we'll do that weekly Nightfall strike. We'll see. Because I want to pick up the weekly Nightfall bounty. I need to pick it up from
The
Zavala.
Iron Lords believed we could contain Siva by destroying the chamber where it was produced. These Fallen must have restarted the process. We need to get back into the chamber and cut off the flow of Siva at the source.
I think we need to focus on what we know. The Fallen have occupied a military in the Plague Lands. We won't get any reinforcements in that area.
The Fallen are a symptom. Siva is the disease.
Fallen are the symptom. Are the disease. So what are we going to be doing? We're going to be eliminating the disease.
Alright. Vanguard reinforcements are standing by. But until those guns are down, they can't leave the hangar. I need you to shut them down. Guardian, there's a dead Vandal near you. Can you give me a scan?
Understood.
There he is.
Basically, but armor is enhanced.
Dead
Weapons
Vandal
have
is
been
in there.
modified. Cybernetic enhancements.
Most Fallen houses have a sect dedicated to this sort of thing. They're called Splicers. They're like body hackers, bioengineers.
It is worse than I feared. The Splicers are not only using Siva to transform this place, they are using its technology to transform themselves.
The Fallen have done some remodeling.
They're taking the metal for something big. Hope they're not using it to toughen up those gun emplacements. I've never seen the Fallen do anything on this scale before. I'm calling for more reinforcements.
You said yourself reinforcements will be useless until the guns are down. Besides, they will not be prepared for what they'll find.
Works well at close range, but doesn't cause that much damage if you are sort of further away from enemies. Oops, not heavy ammunition. Okay. Hold on a minute. I'm not happy about this. Gone the wrong way. Where's he gone? Oh, there's here as well. Right. Ah, got him. That's good. That was very good. Flaming knife was really causing damage long range. That's pretty good. Yeah, it's not really gonna do the job really with the hilt. Where's the last one? Yep. Shooting from the hip. Like that. Maybe... Oh, it's that. I forgot about it. Ah, that was ridiculous. That was my fault. I kept thinking I had tether, you know? I thought I kept that void ability, which is what I was using yesterday, and it's actually solar, and I've changed it because of my bounties. Doesn't matter. Not tragic, really. So these ones have been eliminated. Let's see what's up there. Push it to the plague lands. We need to go in.
I thought SIVA was technology, but this, it's like something alive, growing, out of control.
These devil splicers are using SIVA, but they cannot control it. They are like children with a new toy.
I don't know of any toys that eat Russian industrial complexes.
The first thing you notice when you switch from PlayStation 4 to PS5 or Xbox Series S and X is the graphics. The newer consoles, the latest consoles, they are much better in terms of its, you know, the visual illumination. So the images are brighter, sharper, 4K like, or indeed 4K. Whilst for instance in here, doesn't really matter what I do with the settings. You know, in here it gets like really dark, you can't see the detail, and then with the next gen every single bit is being seen, particularly in the sequel. So it was like very visible when we just switched from one to the other yesterday. The quality was amazing. I think that's probably the best pointer if anyone's considering whether to purchase the new console. It's the speed, as well as
Maybe it's not, but
the resolution.
pulling the triggers out here. The Vanguard wants them taken down, we take them down.
It's both ways, you know, fast processor, download and upload, everything is there. And then you got like beautiful high resolution images. You know, when you watch any of those games that were created during the last 2 years, that, like for instance Halo Infinite or Destiny 2, just really mouth-watering, really beautiful. You never get that sort of experience if you watch it on your mobile phone, but you know, large home cinema setup, so if you have a projector, makes a huge difference, because you really experience the vast, you know, the size of that world, be it here or Mass Effect or Skyrim. It just looks so different, and it all becomes part and parcel of what Phil Spencer calls an immersive experience of video gaming. When I started out with my streams, I was streaming off PlayStation 4, and I had like a small monitor, and then, you know, very quickly I went to Sony Bravia 60-inch TV, and the difference is just incredible. I know some people who play on PCs prefer small monitors because of the refresh rate, and that's for PvP.
Then whoever's controlling this hasn't quite gotten the hang of it.
But for me that's not the main thing. For me it's just the overall immersive experience of the game. So you have to invest a bit in a high quality headset, and then everything else that comes together with it. But believe you me, that investment is definitely worthwhile. You watched the presentation the other day, you would have seen that new television set that's got the streaming platforms integrated, so you don't have to have a console. You can play Xbox games off that Samsung, the new Samsung,
Detecting
and
high
you know,
concentration
seems like a
of
good
Seaver
investment.
shielding the gun emplacements.
Even SIVA-enhanced shields would require an energy source.
But then on the other hand, I'm not sure about the processing power or
all this.
anything else that comes together with it, you know.
Destroy the
It may be
generators and then take down
that
Shiro's
it's just amazing,
zombie guns.
but needs to be tested. I've not tested it yet. Ah, that sniper got me. I basically want to say that it's all about the type of experience that you're getting whilst you're in a game, and it gets really significantly different if you're doing major multiplayers with lots of people participating, like doing raids here, for instance, or in the sequel, or any other major multiplayers. It also gives you the ability to see from distance, you know, like in Warzone. You can see enemies coming from really very far, which is quite difficult on a really small screen. I've got to say, I don't really enjoy playing games on, well, these types of games on mobile phone, and you've seen that the industry is really moving down this road to integrate the big titles like the Division and Assassin's Creed with mobile, because obviously 8 billion people are in possession of smartphone, and gives them a huge opportunity to branch out, bringing more people to game and to purchase. And but for me, it's all about the overall experience, the size. You know, that's critical. Ah. Played Mass Effect originally on, what was my TV then? About 35-inch Sony Trinitron. It's a few years back, and you know, when you play it on this setup, Sony Bravia 60-inch is just a different ballgame altogether. So much more enjoyable, particularly if you do it on Mass Effect Legendary, which is probably, it's my favourite game of all times. You get all the DLCs and everything that's ever been released, but one. The one that was wasted my super now as well. But one that was released as a DLC for Mass Effect 1. They said there were some technical issues, so they couldn't really integrate it. But everything else is in it, so I've played maybe 600-700 hours of the game. That's the trilogy, all 3 parts combined. And it does look and feel like a new game, visually. They re-recorded the sound, they, you know, reworked the backgrounds, and it's just really so enjoyable. Obviously, if you're a fan. Hang on a minute. I want to use oh, he's immune. Alright. Hang on, look at that. Well, that's amazing. Ah, it didn't survive. Slice of Shanks that got me. Ah, Slice of Shanks. Well, if you face these Slice of Shanks, they've got to be your utmost priority. You've got to eliminate them first. Doesn't matter where you are and what you do. Remember doing that big Olga Nightfall, you know, that Cyan and Olga, and we worked as a 3-piece, and we just kept getting so many Splicer Shanks, and there was just like one that didn't get eliminated early enough, and that one would just destroy us. Hand of Thunder completed. That's good. Destroy shield generators. Alright. That's not really hostile. Ah, I see, it was a good headshot then. He didn't really, yeah, took like 3 shots, I think. Right, so where's the other
Shield
one?
power levels are dropping.
Yeah, well, we'll sort them out for this, I think. Where's the other one? Right, managed to destroy one of them. I forgot how low it was. Oh, the knife disappeared, alright. Oh, I see, so these ones are actually shield generators, so... Right.
Guns are upstairs.
That's
Take
what
'em
they're
out.
called. These structures. You get them in lots of Sievas and some other strikes, so I need to remember that. Shield
If I
generators,
didn't
I wonder
know
what
better,
the
I'd say the splicers were creating a
actual
beachhead.
name was.
Something of this scale could be used against the city.
Okie dokie. What's next?
So, those destroyed guns? Siva undestroyed them.
Undestroyed? Look for a central Siva node inside those emplacements.
No, 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 I know
Destroy
what
that,
I need to
and
do.
it will break the ball its hold on the gun.
I need that sword. I need that sword. I need to get away, my friends, because these shanks are gonna get me. Quick, 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 quick. Oh no, I can't get in here. Shut. Look at that. I need to find some shelter somewhere. Come on. I found it. Right, so what we need to do is, if you have lots of scents, is to use this scent at will. And I've got plenty of these. So that makes it easier for me to eliminate some of these enemies. And then we need to go there. Ah,
Ready.
missed him.
Fallen are sending in reinforcements.
Plenty of ammunition here, look at this. Okay. Yeah, I won't be able to survive. Yeah, I knew it. I knew it. It was that last one, you know, hiding somewhere. Unfortunately.
So, those destroyed guns? Siva undestroyed them.
Undestroyed? Look for a central Siva node inside those emplacements. Destroy that, and it will break the ball its hold on the gun.
Actually, it's been a while since I played this one. Probably a couple of years.
Get ready. Fallen are sending in reinforcements.
Ah, that's annoying. Well, they said it was going to be quite hard, so I wasn't going to just walk through it. Never mind.
So, those destroyed guns? Siva undestroyed them.
Undestroyed?
Look for a central Siva node inside those emplacements. Destroy that, and it will break the Fallen's hold on the gun.
Get ready. Fallen are sending in reinforcements.
Ah, still on cooldown. Alright. I can't believe I missed it. So the one I eliminated further here was. Alright. Oh well. Another one here, hiding. Where is he gone? Oh, here he is. He's walking around now. Okay. Still destroyed.
Keep it going.
Keep it going.
But they can't do much
What
while
we do
those
need
guns
to
are
do
still up.
is... You've seen what happened there. Oh, these ones. Alright. You know that Scorch Cannon really helps. It's there. Oh, he's still alive. God. That would be risky, I think. I'd just blow myself up.
Great job. Hawks are inbound. Just hold the area until they get there.
Shiro, I'm pretty sure that air support isn't going to get here in time.
Shiro.
extracting the corruption to resurrect the guns.
Oh, so quickly get some secondary synth. Got so many of these. Oh no. Shield generators, right? Where was this coming from? Where was that coming from? Did anyone see? That is annoying. I need to stay here, I guess. Grab another one. It is working. Oh, we got it. Oh, that's cool. That's been completed.
Forces secure that area.
We'll do our best.
Try. I need the Guardian to return to the temple. If we are to avoid the mistakes which led us here, he and I must speak about the fall of the Iron Lords.
Oh, I received something from where? Something in regards to our fundraiser. Let me see. Oh, there we are. Well, that's very good news. Let me see what they said. I had an email from Mind UK saying thank you. Your stream for Mind is complete. We're so grateful to you and your community for your support, and we hope that you had fun along the way. If you not yet had the chance to pay in your donations, or if you event has had to be postponed, please let us know. The money you raise for Mind will support our info line, giving somebody a voice, etc., etc. That's actually not quite like that, because we have the campaign's going to be run until the end of December, so it's 6 months, and that's just an automated message. Anyway, they're just acknowledging the impact that we are having, and they're just very grateful and very thankful to us all for participating. And it's something that I would not be involved with because it goes to Tiltify. Tiltify is the platform that is raising the funds for the company. So yeah, that's just an automated response. Anyway, they're acknowledging all of our contributions, all of our participation. They're very grateful. We're raising the profile for Mind within the gaming community. They're grateful for all that we've done so far, which has been only for, well, it's been already for a couple of weeks, because I talked about the campaign on my betas as well, so that's pretty good. And it says here that we can have an interactive e-certificate. So let me see what this is. PDF certificate, open. Have a look at it. Thank you. Thank you for joining the fight for mental health. You raised the incredible amount through your stream. Thanks to your fundraising, we can be there for even more people who need your support. I guess this could be linked to individual streams, but we are running a series here on the channel, so working with our fundraisers to share the stories with the media plays a vital part in Mind's work. If you're interested in speaking why you've taken part in Stream for Mind, our media team would love to hear from you. They're particularly interested if you have lived experience of a mental health problem. If you would like to find out more, please email us with a short summary of why you've taken part, and we'll get back to you. Well, I'm a senior mental health professional, and I've had a lot of experience, obviously, in dealing with many people who unfortunately have suffered from various mental health problems, and I certainly will be engaging with this. And they're saying here, thank you again for your support, it's greatly appreciated. We hope you enjoyed fundraising for us, and we would love to hear your feedback so we can improve further in the future. Best wishes, Aaron and Kelly, Mind fundraising team. And that's gaming@mind.org.uk. Actually, I think everyone from our community can write to them and say a few words as to why you believe that this is very beneficial, how it's helping our friends and other gamers worldwide. And it's gaming@mind.org.uk, right? So that's the address, and you can ping them a message and indicate what, whatever you think. And I'll put the email message later on the stream, and you'll be able to use it if you wish to communicate. Basically tell them about your experience of our Gaming for Mental Health streams and why you think it's very beneficial to talk about this live online, and what benefits there will be for the members of our community. So that's really good. Excellent. No, I'm very happy to receive such information so frequently. And also, I did mention I received their rewards pack today. So we have some t-shirts, we have some barrows, we have some pens, we have stickers, and all of that is going to be given to people who are donating and contributing and helping our charity. Well, not our charity, I say the charity that we are supporting here, and that's the Mind Charity United Kingdom. What did I get, if anything? Nothing really. Oh no, there's one engram I picked up. Okay, that's nothing much to worry about. I think one bounty was completed, I think. Actually, stand corrected, 2 bounties are being completed. So that's 30 arc weapon kills and 30 solo weapon kills. Okay, so let's see the other bounties. We have taken 30 with precision shots. Well, that's going to take a little while. And Queen's Grace, 15 orbs of light. What are these? Mars. I guess we can go to Mars and do something there. Hang on. Just to complete his bounties, right? We'll do, let's see, we have plenty of these foibles. Fierce Embrace. Hard. Okay, we'll take that. mission modifier. Survival is not guaranteed. Well, we know that. But guess what? We're not gonna really perish if we do the strikes, which is really great about video gaming. Whatever you do, you still live. And obviously your character may be resurrecting several times, but you know,
Assault on Phobos was the opening
no
salvo.
major danger otherwise.
We believe now it was a trial. The first full-scale use of taken power in the system. The Warlocks see it as a place of power. The Echo must as well. I see this Echo as a strategist. It moved to capture the Black Garden, now a push on Phobos. End it, Guardian.
I'm just wondering whether the game looked as dark when released, you know, or whether that just degenerated over the years. Or maybe it's just my eye now being trained to the beautiful graphics of Series S. I don't know. Hard to tell. Oh, look at them. Hate these guys. Oops, that was silly. Nearly went in the hole. Come on. Right. No, 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 no. He's like so full of himself, thinking, ah, he'll be stronger than the rest of us, and guess what? He's just dead wrong. Yeah, that knife thing got him. Hang on, got any buggers in there? Nope, all gone. Alright. Want to ask everyone, have you played a weekly story mission in Destiny 2? It's quite good, really. It's a big boss in there. It's a bit of diving. Well, people are not that happy with the last season, but I think what they're trying to do is to integrate the story missions with overall activities, and I quite like it. There's a multitude of things to do. Some of the story missions are not particularly lengthy, but then on the other hand, it was a real surprise that Amanda got killed. I didn't really expect that. It's a bit like with Cade. She is one of those very likable characters in the game. And unlike Cade, I think she's unlikely to be resurrected. What will happen to Cade? I mean, how is he going to be coming back? Because he indeed died a heroic death a little while back. So I don't know what's going on. But we've seen the trailer. Oh, I remember this. I remember this. Not done any story missions for a while, I've got to admit. We've had several chronological linear runs a little while back here on the channel, and that was quite enjoyable because we really thought if we went down the chronological route we get to know more about the story, easier to be comprehended. And actually I've done myself a disservice by doing this, because we've done like several times story missions in a fashion which in fact is linear and chronological, so it's not gone. And we still couldn't work out what was actually going on in here. What were the the enemies, by the name, but how these factions are connected and what the war's about and all of that. So people came back and said, you know what? You need to be just simply collecting Grimoire chapters and then read a book and you'll get to know everything. So that was the concept, you know, in Destiny 1. But I still think what they're doing at the moment is better, because really the big games of this sort, they need to be having that RPG content where you are knowledgeable and fully aware of all that's going on at all times. And, you know, you keep doing it for the story. You want to know who did what and what the wars were all about and that sort of thing. I probably quite like the elements of Destiny to be similar to Mass Effect, with a lot more dialogue. But you know, if they create a new game, and don't forget, whatever they do in the future, even with the next chapter, they are going to be facing Starfield, and we want to see how Starfield will fare really with the gaming community, and if that game sets up new standards for space operas and space fighting games, then you know, we'll see what needs to be done here, or how Destiny needs to be reworked. But I'm personally very happy with the extra inclusion of the story and the way the story missions are sort of tied together with the overall activities. Because in here, obviously, the activities were connected to your weapon and armor quests. But, you know, that would be, I guess, seen today as almost 10 years old. And there are other ways and other things which everyone can do in certain games. We actually talked quite a bit about the Outer Worlds for the weekend. I think the Outer Worlds, because it's just on Xbox, has not been played by people on other platforms. But I just absolutely adore the game. It's amazing. It's a bit like Fallout meeting Mass Effect and Borderlands. And plenty of dialogue and a good story, a big map with a lot to do, so definitely enjoyable. And also like humour that is generic, spontaneous and funny compared to what Bethesda did with Fallout 3 in particular, where I thought the humour was, I guess, based on Cold War, and a lot of people who are to be playing the game today will be not that familiar with Cold War or what that actually meant. I'm talking about the members of younger generation, right? Oh, I missed him. Oh, he's even immune now. So always remember to attack the one that's not highlighted first, because they've got the ability to create shield. So he has been resolved. Okay. Well, what do you know? Come on, hurry up. So the idea here is to be running all the time, not to be engaging these flames, because the flames will kill you. Yeah, shouldn't have said it twice, should I? What do I actually want to do? Check this. The synth will probably stay there for a while. Yeah, I actually need some heavy ammunition. Ah no, I missed it, miscued it. Miscued. Echosaphorics. Taken King. Just make sure I keep running. Ah, he's gone now. Oh, that's annoying. That is definitely annoying. Definitely we'll need some extra ammunition. Always use it for infinite reloads. I frequently keep forgetting about the flames, because the flames are very deadly. No, that didn't work. Once again, we'll check inventory. Still a bit of time. Okay. Yeah, but that's not a lot, it's just like 5 rounds. That's not going to last much. What is this? You could tell I've not played this mission for a while, so let's see. Destroy the Echo. Oh, that's annoying. So yeah, I got it. I need to have that golden gun, and that will reduce the life of the beast. So that's very important. So I can just literally stroll up to the point when I get it. Not how fast is it gonna be? Well, this is a place to hide, but I think they did have some sort of gas or something after earlier when I walked down there. Couldn't survive there for too long. Nah, that's just wasted time, isn't it? Take us a bit of time to recharge. I can't believe it's still there. Okay. Who's there? Okay. It's probably a good place for me to aim at the Taken King. See that? No ammunition anymore. Come on, hurry up. Seems to have been too far. Oh, that's gonna kill me. What killed me in there, I wonder? Echo killed me. Oh, well, that's not funny. Alright, Echo. He lived. I died. You know what Zarek says? You live, they die. Or they die, you live. And that was just about it. Wasted me ammunition. All of it. Get some extra ammunition in there. Sounds good. They're gonna be gone at once. No ammunition. Can't go down there. Right, and try and aim a bit better. That's him. Okay, so that should be better. Ah, he was down to 20%. Ah, not funny. Come on. It's taking forever. Let me think. We'll try with something. We'll try something else. Bad Juju pulse rifle. J, try that. Okay, try Bad Juju. Actually, the thorn's not too bad. Could have tried it as well. Impact. It's funny, isn't it? Because that Imago loop does have better impact than Thorn. Never mind. I can try Bad Juju. See how good this will be. Well, it's another silly thing I've done. I could have taken my synth before doing anything, so... Wow, wow. difference. That worked. No, that didn't work. That didn't work. And yet again, I had a really good chance to eliminate the king, and I wasted it. Because it will be the golden gun, you know, 3 shots close range, and then we'll have Crota. Actually, Bad Juju's doing really good. Not used Bad Juju for a little while. Too many of them at once. Right. Never mind. Because this strike, you've got like several threats, right? Obviously, the Taken King is the big one. But you have also these flames that keep coming out of those structures in there, and then swarms of enemies, as you can see. Oh, he's taking quite a bit of damage there. That's good. Yeah, as soon as he releases the liquid, then I'm dead. And I keep forgetting this. Eh. Well. We need to be a bit more patient, a bit more careful, a bit more methodical, right? Well, that doesn't sound very friendly. Let's face the facts. Well, I should be okay, really, with what I've got. It's not too bad. Ah, these flames, look at that. Wow. Well, look at that. Came from behind me. Came from behind me. At least I've not wasted my super. Which is what I've done already about 2 or 3 times. Because the tactics here are deal with the ads and then hit him with a golden gun and give him like 3 rockets. So 6 of these will do the job, I think. Okay. I'm burning. I'm burning. I can't extinguish it. Ah. That hurts. Still, got my super on. Alright. I wasted it earlier when I started firing off the super. And that empty space before Oryx materialized. What is this? Okay. Yet again. I guess I'm just not very fortunate today, right? Not played this story mission for a little while now. It's a bit rusty on escape and evasion. Almost forgot about my secondary. See what this bad juju will do on the beast. What? What was I killed by there? What was I killed by? Anyone seen? I didn't see anything. Must be the flames. Ah, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous, my friends. Well, it's meant to be very hard, so... Still there. Isn't that frustrating? I'd say so. But that's what you call a proper Destiny 1 challenge. Anyway, trying a few things here to see whether it can work or not. Time will tell. Not a good space there, I don't think. Alright. We'll try something else. Airborne, and you are being then killed immediately. Ah. The darkness consumed you. Well, it certainly did. I don't see him anymore. Oh no, I couldn't get out. It's stuck on something in there. Don't know what it was. Shuba's there. Hello Shuba, how are you doing? Thanks for joining us. Thank you for saying hello. Yeah, of course, Destiny 1 memories. I've not seen you here for a while. Actually, I've not been here for a little bit with Destiny 1, so really good to see you. How are you doing? How are you doing, Shuba? Is it Shuba or Shaba? Should be Shuba, I think. How do you pronounce it? Shuba, as in Shuba, or is it Shaba? S-H-A. Shuba is one of our Destiny veterans and one of our old community members. Has been here with us for many, many years, right? I've not played this one for several years, you know, so I'm a bit rusty on Escape and Evasion, but it's really good fun. Hang on a minute. Look at this. Don't want to get that fire. And somebody else got me. Ah. Shuba says, I'm doing really good. Shuba. Yeah, that's right, Shuba. I thought that, yeah. And he says, yeah. Cool. That's all good. Yeah. I mean, I've not done this story mission for quite some time. Just, literally picked it out of a hat today because it's one of those that comes across as very hard. So it comes the level of Nightfall or Sivas. And we've done Nightfall and Sivas early in the week. So I thought, this is going to be an interesting variety and a bit of a challenge for us all. And, well, we'll see whether I can complete or not. To come up with something. Yes, of course I remember. We had many sessions a few years back. Remember that? Before the pandemic. This channel and this game was thriving. But a lot of people have gone down the road of playing Destiny 2, so things have changed somewhat. Two different games really. No, I nearly caught flames. He's gonna push me into the flames. No, I wasted my super. Almost. Yeah, got killed again. Our friend says I'm not Shoba. Shoe bar. It's like a shoes with bar, right? Could be also Shuba. I knew several ladies called Shuba. But the actual, the real name, not just a user ID or a gamer tag. I'm not sure whether it is Indian or Hindu or can't really remember. Yeah, really, definitely. It is a name which is commonly used on the Indian subcontinent. A lady's name, I'm not sure whether you are male or female, but in fact, about 35 years ago, I worked with a lady. She was a colleague. We were really good friends at the time as well. Oh no, he wants to get me there. Oh, look at this. That's ridiculously bad. And you get stuck when you reverse. That's what the trouble is. Must be the rocket launcher that gets stuck or something. I don't know. Missed. Two of them multiplying. Go away. Let's go in there. Give him another shot of that rocket. Got him. Just about. Well, every time I get some of that. Excited about Indiana Jones. The big premiere was in Hollywood yesterday, and want to see what what the film's like. I love the original series, and maybe I should say the original films. Some of our younger gamers may not remember when we have Raiders of Lost Ark and look at this. pushed. Look at that. The big blobby pushed me in there. I'm not gonna survive there. That carries on. Okay, so that's good. I haven't got any rockets, which is terrible. I've got nowhere to hide in here, but it looks okay. So take one of Sims really quickly, I could. And I die as well. That's tragic. That is tragic. Well, I haven't got that much time to finish this, so I better get my act together. Okay, so that worked well. So we can check in another. Oh, I got caught there with that fire. I survived. Alright. No, shouldn't know that. Many enemies, and that's because he was down to about 20% of his health, so need to wait for that super and then get some precision shots and then use my rocket launch on him, so he should be then done. You just simply can't be getting stuck anywhere around here, because you're dead immediately. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. I just say that. Bad juju. This weapon is favoured in the Crucible, you know. They killed that weapon so many times in the Crucible. Ah, that's terrific. That's horrific. That's awful. Not terrific, but horrific. The heat's affecting my brain. I can't really talk anymore. Alright. So I've actually kitted up fairly well for what needs to be done here, but I'm just a bit slow, you know, a bit sort of... Look at this. Can't jump up high enough to get there. To be ultra fast with these guys, because otherwise they get you. Very careful not to catch fire. Yeah, I was in the Oryx's line of sight. So that was causing it. Right, still got my super, I think. Yeah, that's right. Alright. Concentrate, fella. Concentrate, fella. Yeah, that's the first step of not being fully concentrated. That's going to be hard to survive. They'll come at me at once. Yeah. It's always important to choose the right angle and a place we can hide. Hang on, let me see whether I picked up any, completed any bounties. Yeah, I did actually. Precision kills and take them all. My reputation is going up and up. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Probably because I came too close to it, I don't know. What was that? Must be that gas that he releases, or whatever that is. This doesn't look likely. Doesn't look like I'll be able to complete this without any assistance. Hasn't really worked out. I've had my super back on, so that should have really done the job. Anyway, I'll try something else. Let me see. Take some of that. Okay, that worked. That was good. Take it out. Ah, too close to him. You see, when he loses his health, he releases that toxin that just kills everyone. So that's what it is. Maybe that's not really the best spot then. Well, we'll see. Well, that is tricky. What is going on? It's fires, flames, death everywhere. Where is he gone? Oh, there. Oh. No, I'm afraid that is a bit tricky, and we probably will need somebody else to help us out with it. But you know what, we've come to the end of our broadcast. It is coming to 7 o'clock, so I want to thank everyone for watching and for coming here to see us and for chatting with us, and Shuba and Ali coming in as well. Shuba has been a community member for quite some time, and very good to see you. And then we've had Ali as well, telling us that he's from New Zealand, so here we have another member from another part of the world joining our community. And I told him that we have quite a number of people from New Zealand who are also Destiny veterans, and I'll try to connect him with those chaps we'll have a very good kind of New Zealand fire team here included for our raids when the time comes. And yeah, it's been an enjoyable afternoon. Thanks very much for watching and for supporting the channel. Just make sure that you remember that this channel is supporting charities, and we are doing a major charitable fundraiser. We are supporting the charity called Mind in the United Kingdom. They support people with mental health difficulties and emotional problems, irrespective of their age, background, you know, anything, and everybody can use the services. They run these services with volunteers and professionals, and volunteers receive a advanced training in counselling and mental health work. So a sort of charity that is very, very fundamental to the health of our local community in Britain. And I have been supporting mine for many, many years in all sorts of ways, and I've not done any fundraising for them. So this is the first type of major project for me, supporting the Mind, and look forward to receive some donations, funds and contributions from the gamers and our community members, because we really want to be connecting with those good causes. We want to be helping the charities that require funds and support, and also we want to be helping those individuals in our community who are vulnerable, people who are experiencing some form of pressure, people facing homelessness, people experiencing emotional difficulties. We're always here to help them, to provide them with some nice entertainment here within this forum, and in order to remedy all those ills of everyday life, and indeed provide assistance and help if required on the higher professional level, which would be then providing them or giving them advice and directions to certain services and charities in our community in order to talk, in order to deal with these issues and receive further professional support. Right, so thank you for supporting the channel and my fundraising. Thank you for watching, for providing us with your feedback, comments, views, emails, everything else that I receive every single day. Thank you very much for that. Our Destiny World community is alive, kicking and thriving, irrespective of the fact that perhaps there are fewer gamers doing the game overall globally, but we are very happy and indeed forward-thinking and hopeful that the friendships, the bonds, the connections, the interactions, all that we created over the years will carry on indefinitely, a bit like that Destiny World in Destiny 2. And now is the time to relax, to have some dinner, and then watch football. If you are a football fan, tonight we have another semi-final of the Nations League. Yesterday there was a real drama and a thriller if you watched the game between Croatia and Netherlands, in which Croatia managed to win 4-2 and was nearly 5-2 right at the end, with a very, very dubious, very questionable refereeing literally throughout the match, but a real thriller with a 96-minute equaliser by the Dutch, and then phenomenal display of skill in the extra time by the Croatian team. So really another semi-final is being played tonight. It's Italy and Spain. We look forward to this, and then another final, and obviously a battle for the bronze, the third place, on Sunday. So if you're a footy fan, just plenty of that for you here today and on Sunday. Well, what else can I tell you? We'll be back tomorrow with another stream. Thanks very much for watching, and I wish you all a very, very good night.